because we have a pretty lengthy agenda this evening.
Yep, that's fine. I can confirm that. We have Commissioner Edwards, Commissioner Fletcher, Commissioner Washington, Commissioner Lucio, Commissioner Lewis, and Commissioner Berrigan. So we have 6 commissioners in attendance.
Okay. All right. So we do have a quorum. So I understand that we had, we just had an election. Well, first of all, let me apologize to the community for our sort of late start. We're having some technical issues at first, but I think thanks to Commissioner Lucio, she kind of worked those out, and so we're up and running. So thank you all for your patience. I believe, and before I go ahead and get into the meeting, there was an election, you all know, back in November. So we will be in January bringing on a few new commissioners. So we have 3 commissioner-elects that are slated to start with us in January. If they're here, I just wanted to take a moment to recognize them, let them say hello, and then we can get into our agenda. Is any one of those 3 here? Okay, you can just pull them up as we, speaking, and then let me know once you see them. We'll just continue here now, but congratulations to you guys if you're there, and we do look forward to working with you. So, commissioners, you have before you the agenda. Would you take a look at the agenda? Assuming that certain things take place, you all know me, I'm gonna sort of ask to sort of reshuffle this agenda a little bit so that after we get through item number 4 on the agenda, item number 3 on the agenda, we will then go straight to the police department if Lieutenant Savoy is here. We'll check in with Derek at that time. And then from there, I'd like to, after the police department, I'd like to move up our school board representative, Zachary Parker, right after him. And then after that, I'd like to move the Office Attorney General up, number 3, and number 4 would be Lamont Riggs Library. I'd like to move them up. They'd be number 4. And then number 5 would be the UDC PEPCO project. And then we can work on the other items as we get further into the agenda. So I'd like to reorganize. The police department comes after we get into the meeting. After that, we move to the Board of Education. From there, we move to the Office of Attorney General. From there, we move to Lamont Riggs Library, and then to UDC. And then we will, we can talk about the remainder as we go.
Mr. Chair, one question for clarification. When we move the police presentation up, would that be an appropriate time to talk about the Public Safety Task Force?
I think that sounds, yeah, that's fine. We can, yeah, that's good. Okay.
If I may ask something really quick?
Yes.
Sorry. So you said you were going to move the DC Board of Education update. You were going to move it up or down?
Up. It will be item number 2. It'll be right after the police. And that's Zachary Parker, right?
Yes. I'm not sure if he's in, but I'll make sure to text him or something.
Yeah, I mean, if that's a problem, just let me know.
All right, thank you.
We'll work him in when he get there.
Thank
you. Anything else? All right, commissioners, with those changes, I will entertain a motion to adopt the agenda as discussed.
Mr. Chair, I move that we adopt the agenda with the suggested changes by you at this time.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All right, it's been properly moved.
Second.
Agenda be adopted as adjusted. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Let the record reflect that's a unanimous decision on the agenda. So, Derek, is Lieutenant Savoy here yet?
Commissioner Edwards.
Start for us or something?
Commissioner Edwards.
Yes.
I thought we were going to be doing the commission business first.
Which, okay, wait a minute, wait. Okay, so we are doing, okay, all right. My apologies, you are correct. So we are now at the minutes, the approval of the minutes. And it looks like we are approving September and October minutes. And so I think those were sent to everybody in advance of the meeting.
Yes, each commissioner should have received a copy of them in advance. And I'm posting,
Yes.
we can do one at a time. So right now I've got September's up.
Okay. Commissioners, you have the minutes before you. Hopefully you had an opportunity to sort of look at them before now.
I did.
Can I make a motion that we approve the September 2020 minutes?
I second it.
Okay, it's been properly moved and seconded that the September 2020 minutes be adopted pending corrections, I guess, if necessary. Okay, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Let the record reflect the vote was unanimous. Okay.
Let me grab the October. Chairman Edwards, again, this was sent to all commissioners in advance. And so I move that we accept the October 28th, 2020 minutes as submitted with pending corrections.
Second. Correct. Commissioner Lewis.
Okay, it's been properly moved and seconded that the October 2020 minutes be accepted pending corrections. Any unreadiness? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Let the record reflect that that vote was unanimous. All right, the next item we have on the agenda then would be to move to the annual report.
FY21
My
budget.
treasurer for the budgets and the annual report, okay? The budget.
All the commissioner, everyone was sent a copy. I emailed the FY21 proposed budget, and I also emailed the FY20 final expenditure report to all of the commissioners. Emily, can you put up the, I'm sorry, Emily, Commissioner Lucio, can you please put up the budget?
Yep.
Proposed FY21 budget?
Yep.
And commissioners, I ask if you have your copies that I sent you, it would be helpful so that you could look at the FY20 budget that we did, and you will see what the approved budget was, the items that were under the disbursements columns and what our budget was, so that you could get an idea of what I put out as the proposed budget for FY21. And basically, the only change that I made, or in my opinion, that I'm proposing to the commissioners, is for the increase in the grants column. We previously had 2,500 in grants, and I'm recommending that we increase that to $5,000. Aside from that, the FY21 proposed budget that you have before you is mimics what we submitted in FY20.
Let me just thank you for putting together this budget. I have a question, and we have not yet had a chance to have any lengthy discussions about the new office space that we are getting, but I think we may want to put a few dollars in this budget because we do know that that is coming. I believe Commissioner Fletcher is going to be giving us an update with regard to that.
We expected to have expenditures for the office space.
I think,
Mr. Chair, I don't want to get in any trouble or create longer conversations. If that's your recommendation, that's not my recommendation, just to be clear. I support it, but that's not my recommendation.
All right, well, let's do it this way, because I don't want to start a long conversation. So maybe we should just table that. And once we hear from you about the office, and then in a future meeting, we can have some discussions. But I'm almost certain that with the addition of the space, there's going to be some expense that is going to be incurred. Now, we're going to be able to limit that, but we can talk about it later. Okay?
Mr. Chair, I would also recommend that we can always do an amended budget.
Yes.
To move dollars around if that were the case, to put in that line item.
Okay.
And since we don't have that information now and we need to get our approved budget in, I don't think it would be a problem because we have funds available. If you look at it, what our total disbursements would be for FY20, proposed expenditures would be for FY21, come to about $25,000. And if you look at the ending balance, we're still going to have available $27,000 after our expenditures. That's including the allotments. So
right.
I don't foresee a problem if we have to do an amendment to include that money for that line item.
Okay, I think, we can talk about it later. I think Commissioner Fletcher is right on point. Let's not, for that update in terms of the funds, and so we know about the availability and everything. But other than that, commissioners, you have any other?
I do. I have a quick question.
Okay.
Yeah, just for clarification, item number 3, communication, is that where the funding for the website comes from?
Yes.
This is Commissioner Lewis. I make a motion that the budget be approved as recommended.
Okay.
It's been properly moved and seconded that the budget be adopted as presented. Any unreadiness? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Abstentions? Let the record reflect unanimous decision.
Thank you, commissioners.
Finish, Commissioner Washington?
Yes, that's it for me. Except for, you know, if I need to hang around, you guys, if we want to talk about the next thing, because I'm on a limited time here.
Okay, and the other item that was of importance to you, and I want to go ahead because I just want to say to everybody, and she didn't tell me to tell y'all, but today is Commissioner Washington's birthday, so she got she's going to be kind of having to duck out in a little while. So what I want to do,
Happy birthday.
let's
Thank
just
you. Thank you. Yeah, my dinner has arrived.
Okay.
Oh, it has?
Yes.
All right, well, we'll end the meeting right quick so we can all get over. Look, no.
Let's go. Oh, how about that? So can we move to the website part?
That's what we're getting ready to do. We're gonna talk. Let's move to the website right quick.
Chairman Edwards, can I make a proposal request?
Yeah.
Yes, go ahead. Yeah,
Thank
and
you.
go ahead.
So having been the one that's been negotiating the website for the last 2 years, I've been working with it and found inherent issues, as I mentioned in the last meeting or the meeting prior to that. Some of which include that we realized recently that the host company Wix is not a local company. The website works in conjunction with a shared folder drive that has limitations in terms of how files are saved and stored. The website is not 508 ADA compliant, which is a government requirement. The website's not integrated with our email list to allow people to join easily. There are limitations in the page design. The layout and the information on the pages does not easily show new residents what's going on with our ANC, and the calendar function does not allow for changes to the schedule. Those are some of them, just some of the issues. There's a number of others as well. I believe we need to develop a new website that addresses these issues as outlined above, in addition to others. We need to develop and make it more functional and better organized website with a modern aesthetic appearance that is also, as I mentioned, 508 ADA compliant. And so based on my experience of working on the website and reviewing other ANC websites, I will put together a proposal to present to the companies, providing bids that outline features and design criteria in our redesign. The redesign proposal will also be based on suggestions from the community. So I plan to put together a survey that asks the community what features and information the community would like to see on our website. Based on some review of other ANC websites, I think there's a number of different things we could provide the community just in terms of resources, other meeting information, just community resources, contact information, things like that. In addition to our meeting schedule, obviously our minutes and contact information, but just some other things I think we can do to make our website more useful for the entire community. So what I propose is that over the course of the next 2 months, which would bring us to our January meeting, I will take the lead on obtaining 3 bids from local small business companies, which I've already started to obtain, require that they share with us who the website host will be and where they will be located, ensuring that the host is within the United States and preferably this region, if not area. Require that they provide a regular service and maintenance plan as issues arise, making sure that they are readily available, and require that the website be user-friendly to allow us to easily upload documents and change content as needed. And then request that they stay within a budget. Right now, I'm going to propose $1,000 based on previous expenditures. That would not include monthly hosting fees, which we will find out once we determine who the host is, but at least for the setup and design, $1,000. So what I'm respectfully requesting your approval on is that at the January is this proposal, and that at the January meeting, I will present 3 bids that come within that budget that I mentioned from local small businesses.
I I'd kind of like to hear from some of the other commissioners. I think you have given us a very detailed a report here. I mean, you've outlined most of the issues that we're all familiar with, I think, in terms of the website and all that good stuff. But I guess I was thinking that there was sort of like a group of you all that were sort of working together, that you would come up with the language for the solicitation document, and then that you all would be reviewing those proposals, those 3 proposals, and then you would come to the meeting in January. I think we probably saying the same thing, but yours just didn't seem like it included, you know, sort of like a team approach that it seems that we had discussed initially. But yeah,
You're correct, and I apologize about that. I think that time got away from us, and most of us were very busy with other things up until earlier in November. And so I think that took priority for a number of us. It's not to say that this isn't a priority. I was just trying to streamline the approach, given the fact that we are now into November and we have new commissioners coming on board and other commissioners going off the board. And so I just wanted to try and find a a way to make this as seamless and easy as possible. I am certainly more than happy to work with the other commissioners on this. I know that Commissioner Berrigan and Commissioner Fletcher had expressed interest, and we've been in some conversations about it, not as extensive as we had agreed upon initially. And so I think we can continue to do that. I just wanted to try and find a
If I may-
streamlined approach.
Commissioner Edwards?
Yes.
Yes, I think this definitely should be a team effort, and it should definitely include the voice of the residents, not just beyond the survey. I think it would be a really good experience to include residents in this process, especially since I'm not going to be here in January anymore. But I also wanted to point out to one of the things that Commissioner Lucy just mentioned, and this is specifically related to Commissioner Washington, and I know she's looking forward to go and celebrate her birthday. Happy birthday, feliz cumpleaños. The cost that is being provided by Commissioner Lucio of $1,000 budget for the web development, I feel like that is not sufficient. Based on some bids that were already, I mean, some of us already started working on this the minute that we decided that we were going to do this as a team effort. I feel like we should not stick to that $1,000 budget because it's a very small budget. There's also a need for maintenance and continued maintenance of the website throughout the year or 2 years, depending on however you want to do the contract. And that also has a cost. The more we have someone specifically paying attention to the website, uploading the documents, doing the maintenance as required, ensuring that the website is active, the better outcome that we're going to receive that we're going to provide for our residents. So I feel like the cost is really low. It's really low. I do think that we can do a quick estimate, ask for that quick estimate so that Commissioner Washington can budget it properly. And then that way we're not selecting bids from a very low cost that's being suggested. And I'm really happy that there's a local effort now, since that was raised as an issue last time. So thank you for adjusting to that.
If I can just add to that, Commissioner Washington or Commissioner Edwards, that I have been in touch with a number of other ANC commissioners about their websites and their websites host to get some comparison issues. And overwhelmingly, the response back I've received is that this can be a low cost effort, and that it does not have to be a high cost effort. I also believe, while I do agree that we need to include in the contract regular maintenance, we are going to be the ones particularly updating the website on a regular basis. We're not asking another company to update and upload the documents. That's going to be done by us like it is now. So I think that will help keep the cost lower. And based on I do have a proposal as well, and that proposal was around $1,000, which is what sort of guided my effort in terms of this. But also in my conversations with other ANC commissioners and how they've done their websites.
All right, again, we don't want to spend a whole lot of time here. I do believe that you have allocated the time to sort of get everything that has been discussed here tonight accomplished. I mean, between now and say January, you know, I could envision, I mean, you kind of, I kind of agree with Commissioner Berrigan concerning, you know, just making sure we're getting some community input. And I do understand and appreciate your the survey and that kind of thing. But for doing this 2-month period, just sort of be creative and you know, get as many ideas as you said in your presentation. And you know, you don't need me for meetings. If you need me to come to a meeting, if you want to have a meeting, host a meeting, whatever you want to do between now and January, we can work together to get it done. I don't have a problem with that.
Thank you. I appreciate that. One of the things I can certainly add in the survey, I hadn't put together the details of the survey. So one of the things I can put in there is a request for anybody who would like to be involved further than just responding to the survey, that they can provide their name and information, and then I can form a more thorough group of people to be involved in the process.
Okay. Thank you. This was really a very good proposal you put together on quick notice, and look forward to you all continuing the work to develop the ANC, the website, and hopefully it'll be something that's dynamic and not so stale and not so still and stuff. So let's try to be creative. And so if that means paying a little bit, more, let's do that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I would not presume that this would preclude us from coming back for additional funds if we felt it was absolutely necessary. I just wanted to start with a range.
All right.
Okay.
Okay. Derek, you ready? Because I think we're ready now to hear from the police.
Okay. This is Commissioner Washington. I just like to say thank you, everybody. I'm getting ready to sign off. I'm going to have my birthday dinner. Okay. And yeah, and Derek, thank you. And thank the lieutenant for coming on. And one thing I just want to say before I go, you guys, you commissioners, please get on the sector meetings that we have every month, please. But they're very informative. And the lieutenant and the captain is on, Captain Christian is on there, and he helps a lot. He can fill in on information that you're not sure of and address any concerns you have as it relates to safety or something that happened in your community. That's what I'm going to end with.
Yes, ma'am.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Thank you.
Birthday. So with that being said, I think Lieutenant Savoy may be on. If not, then Captain Christian is on. Okay, Captain Christian.
They have the ability to unmute themselves. I don't see.
Captain Christian is calling in, so he may have some difficulty. So you may have to unmute him.
What's his phone number?
This is the number.
Pardon me?
6326 are the last four numbers.
Got it. For some reason, I can't unmute him.
You can't?
Okay, let's see.
Okay, she will can continue trying to sort of work on that. And in the meanwhile, can we move on? And then after this next speaker, we will move to the Board of Education, and then we'll come back to the police department.
That's fine with me.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Commissioner Berrigan, are you doing the introductions here?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm trying to see if he's in.
Is he here?
Is he in?
I have not seen him.
Because he said he was going to get in, and I sent him the link.
All right. Okay. Well, we're moving on.
Yep.
And then when he get here, just keep looking out for him. And as soon as he get here, just raise your hand or let us know. And
Hey, yeah, can you hear them?
Oh, yes.
Is that Captain Christian?
No.
Savoy? Who we got?
Okay. All right. Okay.
Derek, is he gonna try and get on?
Yeah, he's dialing. He hung up and he's dialing back in. So he said he'll be dialing right back in.
Okay.
All right. So then what I would like to do then in the interest of time is move on to the next item on our agenda, which is the Office of the Attorney General. John Carlos Green, I believe, is going to be representing that office tonight, and they're going to be talking a lot about safety in the community and their responsibilities and how they help with things like scams and fraud and stuff like that. Mr. Green, are you here?
Yes, hello, can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Wonderful. So my name is John Carlos Green, and I work as the Community Engagement Coordinator at the Office of the Attorney General. And we have the pleasure this evening of having the Director of our Office of Consumer Protection, which is the division that handles consumer fraud across the city. So I'd like to take a moment to introduce or to welcome Benjamin Wiseman.
Thank you, John, and thank you, everyone. It's good to be here. Hope everyone's doing well. It's nice to see everyone's faces, even though we can't be together. I want to give a quick overview of our.
Mr.
Yes.
Wiseman, I wanted to just take a minute to sort of welcome you here and to say I apologize because I did get the information from your office to include you on the agenda to make sure your name was put on the agenda. So I apologize for that. Okay.
Not a problem at all, John. As long as your acknowledgement of John is good enough for our office. So let me just briefly describe what we do in the Office of Consumer Protection, some of the work we've done during the COVID crisis, and then just some hints and some tips about your rights and what you should be looking out for. In 2015, when Attorney General Racine was elected as Attorney General, one of his priorities was to establish a standalone Office of Consumer Protection to protect the rights of consumers across the district, the 700,000 district residents. We have four main goals as we view it. The first one is we bring enforcement cases against companies that violate the district's consumer protection laws, which make it unlawful for companies to be untruthful, provide misrepresentations to consumers when consumers are purchasing goods or services. The second piece of this is we have a mediation program, which is something I'm really proud of. We mediate complaints that consumers call into our office. So you can file a complaint at oag.dc.gov, or you can call us on our hotline. It's 202-442-9828, and we will assign your complaint to a mediator who will then work with the company to try to find a resolution. Since 2015, we've mediated thousands of complaints and returned almost $1 million to district residents without an attorney ever being involved in that process. The third component is we work with the council on policy issues and work on legislation to protect consumers. And then finally, fourth is we do a lot of outreach. So we're out in the community just like we are today, talking to folks about what we do. Now, very briefly, during the emergency, the Office of Consumer Protection sits within the Public Advocacy Division. And we immediately responded to the COVID-19 public health emergency. We routed significant resources to three areas: enforcement of the district's laws and other COVID-related emergency amendments, outreach to the community, and guidance to the council. With respect to enforcement, since the mayor's declaration, we have received and responded to approximately 800 complaints from residents regarding housing and labor, price gouging, stockpiling, and other consumer protection issues. It's resulted in over 100 enforcement letters to businesses, several investigations, and 2 price gouging lawsuits, including one that was announced last week against a company called Capital Petroleum Group, who is a major distributor of gasoline in the district. As part of this effort, we launched several task forces, including our price gouging task force. That was a group of attorneys and investigators which investigated over 168 complaints of price gouging throughout the city. We also launched similar task force for tenant and worker related issues. Those task force also responded to complaints about workers who are having concerns with their businesses not abiding by COVID guidelines, tenants who are facing eviction. And we've also participated in over a dozen trainings across the city, as well as outreach events like this. And then finally, I'll just wrap up and talk very briefly about some of the rights that folks should know about. On the consumer protection side, there is always, under district law, you have a right to truthful information from businesses. Businesses have to be upfront and truthful in the information they give you. With respect to the emergency in particular, there are 2 specific laws: the district's price gouging law, which makes it illegal to raise prices on goods or services above normal average retail price for the 90 days preceding the emergency. It's a little bit complicated how that works, but if you believe that you've been a victim of price gouging, sorry, one second. For all of us who are doing childcare at the same time as work, I apologize. So if you feel like you've been a victim of price gouging and you feel like you've paid more, or you've seen a price go up exponentially, you should contact our office and please let us know. On the eviction side, evictions have largely been stayed as a result of the COVID emergency. If you believe you are facing an illegal eviction or you know of anyone, again, you should contact our office. We've been very active in that enforcement. And then on the wage side, there are certain requirements that businesses have to abide by, and we take we take it very seriously to make sure that workers are protected, they have the proper PPE, and that they are provided appropriate sick leave as they are required under the law. So again, we've been very active in enforcement in that space. I would be happy to answer any questions if anyone has any about sort of the work we're doing in this space. And John has now posted our consumer protection hotline below. Anyone can call and someone will be back in touch with you very soon thereafter.
All right, yeah, I want to thank you for that report. I know the community probably have some questions for you. One thing I wanted to say before I do that though is I would maybe like to get your number, or I can try the hotline thing, but I did sort of file a complaint with your office about a company, Car Shield. And so I'd like to talk to you about that. I mean, they got this little scheme where they, claim you can pay, it's like a warranty, and then, how they're gonna, save you a lot of money. And then when you take your car to the shop, then it's another story. So I'd like to have a conversation offline with you, maybe about that. Any questions from anybody else about anything? If you want to say anything about Car Shield, you can while people are lining up.
Yeah, well, you should feel free to email me offline. We can set up a time to talk.
Okay.
Commissioner,
John, you can
Chairman
throw
Evans,
my
I have a
email.
question.
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm assuming that the utility companies are working on a separate direction. I just wanted to ask in terms of residents who have trouble in terms of paying their utilities.
So there's a few answers to that. One is utility companies are prohibited from shutting off utilities during the course of the emergency, which now runs through the end of December. I think we have some expectation that will be continued, although it's uncertain. So no one should have their utilities shut off. It doesn't apply to all utilities. So cell phones, don't actually, fall within the utilities that under the law, but it's gas, electric, water, and telecom, like internet services.
Can I ask a question in relation to that?
Yep.
I think we're in a day and age, right, where cell phones are primary phones, and a significant number of people don't have landlines, right? So is there a way for people who don't have a landline to make an argument to prove that their cell phone is their main, line, so that can be covered?
Yeah, this is sort of stepping a little bit outside my wheelhouse and into the legislative wheelhouse. I think there are some, I know that there were discussions about doing that in the council about trying to include cell phones or wireless coverage. I think there may be some concerns about federal laws and the inability to regulate those industries. I just don't know that, and I don't know if anyone from any council, I guess it would be Council Member McDuffie if he's here, but they'd probably be in the best position to address specifically why that wasn't included in the legislation. But I mean, I agree, those are important lifelines for many people. And when people have been cut off and contacted our office, we have tried to work with those carriers to make sure that people can continue their services.
Okay, I appreciate that. I know Silas Grant was on. I don't see him on now.
Sorry, Mr.
Oh, no, yes, he is. He is there.
Yeah, Mr. Chair. So
Yes.
I'm not sure, just want to put it out there, but Commissioner Lucy, if you're not done yet, I'll wait. I just want to make that known.
Yeah, Silas is here. I didn't know Silas wanted to add into that or not.
And in what? Hold on 1 minute.
Okay.
What was what were you getting ready to say, Commissioner Fletcher?
No, I just wanted to make another comment because I'm not sure if Ben, first of all, thank you for your presentation. John, thank you as well. Really appreciate the work from your office. I just want to make another comment because I'm not sure if Ben, you stated this or not, but I know that as a new homeowner, I definitely got a scam regarding Pepco, or that my bill was not paid. and that I need to pay the bill within, I need to pay a bill of $800 in 24 hours or less, or all my utilities were going to be shut off. And so I'm not sure if other residents have heard about the similar scam, but I just want to, make that known to the community as well, and to you, Ben, that that's going out there.
Yeah, unfortunately, we've seen a number of scams and frauds come out of the pandemic. That is one of them. We actually have a consumer alert on our website, which I would encourage folks to check out the OAG blog and social media often will issue consumer alerts. We have one specifically on Petco, but we've seen scams from stimulus check scams, people trying to steal folks' identity, claiming that you can get your stimulus check faster if you just give us your credit card. We have seen scams about COVID testing, COVID insurance. It really runs the gamut. We have been working with the U.S. Attorney's Office, specifically after the COVID emergency, as well as other federal and state partners to try to combat those scams. But the main defense is to remain vigilant. If it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. Only, if you receive a call from someone, from a company or an entity, what I always do is I always go and call that company back based on the number I know by, looking online or looking at my bill. I never, don't pay with, it used to be don't pay with Western Union. Now it's don't pay with like cards, like prepaid cards is a big way people are getting scammed. Apple points and Google cards. So, pay with credit card if you can, because you can only lose up to $50 under federal law for credit card. So, unfortunately, we've seen a huge rise in scams, and we're trying to remind people to be vigilant.
So I'm hearing of some residents that are having problems with landlords about rent now, and I know that some are getting behind on their rents, and so if they are allowed to continue to let those rents sort of build up, and then January or whenever when the COVID is over, what protections or what do you see happening, I think, in terms of people who get behind like that on their rents, and then once the pandemic is over, are they then going to be subject to eviction or?
Yeah, I mean, we are expecting a sort of eviction tsunami when the emergency ends, which is very concerning. There are some protections. Landlords have to provide payment plans to tenants, so it's not as though people will be immediately evicted because they make a lump sum payment of all the rents that they haven't paid yet. It's concerning. We've been working with both colleagues in the nonprofit community who represent individuals, but also with the court itself to going to deal with the increase of likely. The same applies on the debt collection side generally. There's currently legislation that prohibits debt collectors from initiating new lawsuits to collect debts. So we've effectively stayed all debt collection in the District of Columbia. Again, we expect that after the emergency ends, the debt collection law actually gives a grace period of 60 days, but after that 60-day period ends, we see a lot of debt collection lawsuits throughout the district. And again, we're trying to get ahead of that, but it's going to be a challenge for a lot of people.
All right, so, and when you say debt collection, should these companies now, when you're late, be notifying the credit union, because that's a penalty? And I know that some are doing that. Are they supposed to be doing that during the pandemic?
It's going to be very context specific. You should, if you know of someone or hear that, you can contact our office and we can look at it specifically. But there are various number of prohibitions. Mostly you're not allowed to. A third-party debt collector is actually not even allowed to contact a consumer at this point. Only an original creditor, so someone who actually bought the item from. But there are a number of prohibitions about taking sort of remedies to collect on that debt. But I'd have to look at the specifics on whether or not reporting to a credit agency would fall within that. Within the legislation.
Chairman Edwards, there's a resident with a question.
Okay, let's recognize.
Ms. Beckman? Katie?
Hi, I didn't have a question particularly at this point. I was just sharing some community resources in the chat.
Okay.
I can verbalize them as well. So there are a lot of organizations who are putting together public testimony to make sure that at these city council hearings that they hear directly from residents. Fair Budget Coalition, DC Fiscal Policy Institute, among many others, are organizing testimonies around specific issues. So all of those issues are connected by the budget, which, you know, as a city, it has to have a balanced budget by the end of the year, but they're looking at all sorts of ways to raise revenue. So I would invite folks to check out that website as well.
Okay. Mr. Wiseman, did you have anything? Or you see any other hands up?
This is Commissioner Lewis. I have a question.
Commissioner Lewis, go ahead.
The question is there anyone that persons who are facing these challenges can go to for counseling and some kind of relief, or not relief, but how to work with this situation? Because I read someplace the other day that some of these extensions will expire at the end of December. So that means these people will be vulnerable. So is there any way or any place that these people can go for some kind of counseling?
Yeah, I mean, we are referring people to legal aid primarily, who are, anticipating that they'll be in a debt collection or eviction proceeding. Legal aid provides free legal services for both of those types of cases. We're also trying to work closely with the council to see if there are other legislative fixes that we can enact to make it easier for folks when those emergency protections expire. With the debt collection law, we create a buffer, or the council create a buffer at the beginning, so that even after the emergency expires, there's still 60 days for folks to try to get things back on track. There's a lot of pieces to put together. And if you have any specific questions or people who need direct help, you can feel free to direct them to our office, and we can try to refer them to where we think they'll get the best help.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Commissioner Lucio, you were trying to get Silas. I guess, Silas, did you have anything that you wanted to add or you'd like to say while Mr. Wiseman is here regarding any of that? Is Silas there?
Hey, Ronnie.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had to jump off to handle an emergency real quick internally with the office. So I missed a portion of the presentation. So I do apologize for that.
Okay.
Silas, I was asking about the issue of landline versus cell line. So they were saying that utilities are covered but not necessarily cell phones. And I said, since cell phones are generally people's primary phone these days, and most people don't have a landline phone, is there a way to get an exemption for that if they're in this dire situation and need to get the utilities covered? And he mentioned that was more of a regulatory issue, and wasn't sure if the city council or the federal government were doing something to address that there may be some issues based on federal regulations with cell phone companies.
Right. So you make a very good point about the nature of where we are in terms of people using cell phones now as their primary phones. I need to check into that, because if our office has had a discussion about that, I've not been a part of it. So I need to check on that, and I can reach back out to you with an answer once I get a confirmation on that.
That would be helpful. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I do see a question in the chat that I'm happy to address. It's asking about a settlement we announced today in a case against Apple for slowing iPhones. The district received 2.6, so it's 2.7 million to the district. Those funds will largely be deposited into the OAG's litigation support fund, which will fund future cases that we bring to try to protect residents. So that is where those funds will be allocated to. We often bring in more money than we spend. We look at ourselves on the affirmative side of OAG as and in the public advocacy division as we really are self-funded and bring in more for the city, and it's a good investment. I think this is one example. You know, consumers, there was a class action settlement where individuals should have received notice about their eligibilities to submit a claim in October, by October. So oftentimes we will also obtain money for individuals as well. This case, there was a class action where that money was directed.
Thank you. That was that's some good information. I want to say I have, and thanks to you guys, and didn't even know, have also been the recipient of a check I got in the mail based on some of you all's work as a result of that. So I appreciate the work that the Attorney General is doing, and and I look forward to speaking with you, I guess, on some other issues. Any other questions or anything that you'd like to leave us with? Anything you'd like to leave us with?
We have Chris, did you have a question? You had a hand raised. Did you have a question? No.
Okay.
Okay. Chairman Edwards, I did want to let you know that we have resolved the issue with Captain Christian's cell phone and unmuting himself, and also Zach Parker is on the line, as well as Malik Miller.
All right.
From the mayor's office.
Okay, so Mr. Wiseman, you're finished. You're good.
Yes, I'm good. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Very good report. Okay. All right. So we're going to circle back up now to the police department with Derek and Captain Christensen. Is Captain Christian? Is that who's here?
Yes.
Yeah. Good evening. And first of all, I just would like to. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. First of all, I'd just like to apologize. I'm actually driving down. My lieutenant was supposed to handle it, but she had some complications this evening. So I just kind of wanted to jump in and, just kind of talk to you guys about the crimes that we've been experiencing right in the area at North Michigan Park. Overall, crime has been down. We're down in violent crimes and property crimes. The only property crimes that we have experienced increases are burglaries and our stolen autos. Stolen autos have been a big issue recently, and a lot of them have been a result of carjackings. The 4th District has made quite a few arrests with the carjackings, but the majority of the arrests have been juveniles. And the juveniles have been pretty much once they've been arrested, they've been let back out. So it's an ongoing thing that we're dealing with. But we're trying to abate that in the patrol aspect, is just putting more officers in that immediate area. I would say splitting between North Michigan Park and our Riggs Park area. And recently we've actually seen a better, I would say within the last few days, we've had a better response, from the officers getting in those locations during the evening and night hours. Now, as far as our violent crime has peaked, and unfortunately, we've had quite a bit of shootings in our Riggs Park area, and this is a result of gang and crew beefs. We've had a couple of recent released gang members who I would say they probably just got released maybe about a month ago, and we saw a spike throughout the Riggs Park and Petworth area, right off of Georgia Avenue, and that's where our I would say our Kennedy Street KDY crew and what they call a Crittenden Street crew are actually going back and forth with a beef. We've been utilizing our narcotics division, our intel unit, and other government, DC government agencies, to assist with trying to quell these these beefs. It hasn't helped yet, but again, we've had several gun arrests, from our narcotics division coming to assist us, and then our own officers have made quite a few gun arrests. But while we're trying to get our patrol officers out there, our detectives are working these shootings tirelessly, trying to make arrests. And as we know, the holiday season is coming upon us, so our theft from our package thefts should be spiking. I would say within the next 3 to 4 weeks. So one thing that we do ask the residents, just kind of be mindful when you start doing your online shopping. If possible, send it to an address that that someone, if you're actually going out to work, send it to an address that someone will be there. Or if you're using Amazon, I believe they have Amazon lockers and different locations. And if you're able to pick up your packages, utilize that, as a tool when you do your online shopping. And and those are the things that we would, when we look at our trend reports between November 1st and December 25th, we know that there will be a rise throughout the city in these particular crimes. And again, I do apologize because, I'm driving and, I just don't have a lot of information now. But we just had our Sector 2 meeting 2 weeks ago. And these are one of the things that I want to get out there. So I want, if you can get your constituents to join us in our Sector 2 meetings, and we can get more detailed, with our crime. Our Sector 2 meetings are every first Tuesday of every month. And the next one would be December 8th, which is less than a month from now. And if anyone has any questions, we can kind of jump in and talk about anything that anyone would like to speak about.
Hey, Chairman Edwards.
Yes.
I have a question, and I'm not certain if this address is within this sector, so please forgive me. But I received an email today, as well as a phone call from residents on the 800 block of Kennedy Street Northeast, as well as the 900 block of Jefferson, about a series of shootings. I think 2 shootings that happened in the last couple of weeks. One apparently happened, I believe, yesterday on the 900 block of Jefferson. So I didn't know if you guys had any information about that. Yes,
and that kind of goes back to the gang and crew beefs that we're investigating. And they're not connected as far as we know right now. And then the last particular shooting at the 900 block of Jefferson, fortunately, no one was hit. But an individual that was driving a dark colored sedan drove through the block and started shooting toward a house. We don't know who was hanging out, in front of the house as of yet. But, we actually got a pretty good lookout from one of the residents that was outside when it happened. So, again, fortunately, no one was outside, and we had one of the residents' vehicle that was struck. And that goes back to that, again, that gang or crew beef that's going on the other side, on the northwest side, on the Petworth side, and they're kind of going back and forth, looking for a couple of these individuals.
So, Mr. Chair?
Yes.
I have some questions and comments at the appropriate time.
Go ahead.
I do as well, so when we're
Okay, Commissioner.
And I do.
Yes.
I will wait. Ladies first, I'll wait.
All right, I'll go. Thank you, Commissioner. Captain, via email and at the last November 10th Sector 2 meeting, I requested very specific data that I have yet not received. The data that I'm looking for is written information, because that was a phone call, so we weren't able to necessarily keep track of the information that you were providing. So I wanted to get that in writing so that I can then share it with my constituents in my SMD. The data that I requested was a community outreach person you mentioned that the community outreach person would contact me, and I've yet to receive or hear from that particular person regarding written data for PSA 405, in particular my SMD, regarding any stops that were done and any other crime that happened in my area. And the same thing, I wanted to get a Sector 2 stats that you provided at the meeting. And you mentioned that you would contact the Department Crime Analysis Unit, but I've yet to hear from that as well. So can you tell me when will I expect to receive this information that I requested?
Yes, actually, I'm glad you're on the phone because the email that the response that I sent you, I thought answered, and then the conversation that we had at the last ANC meeting, I thought we kind of went over the things that you needed. You know, our community outreach person, Derek Staten, he spoke to you as well on the when we were on the call. But whatever additional information that you need, we can do this offline and then get it to you, so we won't take up everyone else's time, and get everything that you need so you can forward to your constituents.
Yes, I just want to make sure that when we request information, it's been 2 weeks, that we do get it, and that we do hear from Derek. Thank you, though. I will follow up.
No, thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah, and I'm going to put my information in the box. Commissioner, if you would like to contact me directly, you can do so. And if not, I'll reach out to you tomorrow and we'll talk.
Thanks, Derek.
So I have a question. So Captain, thank you very much. I did lose the last part of your presentation because I got kicked off for various reasons, but it's not relevant. But I wanted to ask, so I know I've been in touch with you all because there was a carjacking on my block last week. I know Carmen Williams is on this call as well, and she is the president of North Michigan Park Civic Association. And so I know that was something relatively new to this area. I believe my residents from my SMD have also been in touch with you all about the shooting issues in the back alley behind Varnum Street going up towards University Park, and the shell casings left behind that dead end alley. So I wanted to see if you had any update on either of those incidents. I know the shootings in the alley had happened 2 or 3 times. And so I just wanted to see if you had any updates on either one of those issues.
Yes, we can speak about the carjackings. Again, I explained the carjackings have been up, and we've had 2 good arrests with the carjackings within this last month. The latest arrest that we had with the carjackings, the detective's office will be able to close quite a few, well, actually several carjackings within the 4th and the 5th district with that one arrest. So, you know, that's definitely a win for us.
Right, but I'm sorry to cut you off. Are either of those arrests were specifically for the one that happened on Crittenden Street in the 800 block of Crittenden Street?
Well, the arrest that we made actually it wasn't directly from that carjacking, but the detective's office may be able to link that, you know, and this is something that they're doing through their investigative efforts. When I said that they should be able to close several other carjackings, we hopefully the detective's office will be able to link this person that is arrested to this one as well.
Okay, can you keep me updated on that?
Yes, definitely. And what I'll do is before I get off the call, I'll give everyone my email address, and if you can just email it, because again I'm driving. If you can just email me, you know, your question.
Yeah,
yes,
you and I have been in touch by been in touch by email about this situation, and I know
right.
Kelly from the council member's office was also on that email thread.
Yeah.
So I want to make sure, because you may not be able to give this information out, but do you know whether the person affected by the carjacking was a resident of this area?
I believe that particular carjacking, I'm not sure. I'm not 100% sure that it was a resident. And again, without the information, hello?
This is Carmen. She
Hello?
was not a resident of North Michigan Park.
Right.
Okay, all right,
Correct.
thank you.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
Okay, that's what I thought. I just wanted to confirm. Okay, and do you have any response to the shootings in the alley that I mentioned that we've been talking about?
Yes. Yeah. When we were on the emails, I guess a few of the residents wanted to know if these were if these were reported, and I let everyone know that these sounds of gunshots and the shell casings that were recovered, they have been reported, and once we get them reported, then they'll recover the shell casings, and they go through ballistic. I would say our ballistics, and once the ballistics come back, then it goes to the detective's office, and then the detectives try to match these shell casings to other crimes throughout the city, and then this is how they kind of pinpoint who the actual shooters are.
Okay, and so one of the unique things about that alley is it's a dead end alley.
Correct. Yes.
And we've been working with DDOT on the lighting, and we're not making much progress. Right, we're not making much progress in that area. They've had a light assessment done and determined that the lighting is sufficient for what's there. But obviously, it's very easy for people to be hidden and not someplace your cars are going to necessarily patrol back and forth because it is a dead end alley. What we've determined is that it's likely that the people are running in the direction of University Park.
Right. Correct.
Where they're hiding back in those trees. So I'm wondering, you mentioned earlier that you were increasing patrols in the area of North Michigan Park. Are you, that actually is part of Michigan Park and not North Michigan Park. So are you also increasing patrols in that University Park, Michigan Park area?
Yes, and we can. And when I say, when I say North Michigan Park, I'm saying that to include Michigan Park as well. And what happens is we have an overlap between our evening and midnight shift, so that gives us at least an additional 7 to 8 officers. And then my midnight lieutenant, she'll just kind of pinpoint different spots throughout the that Riggs Park and Michigan Park area, and this is when we'll pull from our or get our additional manpower from.
Okay, thank you very much. I hope we will stay in touch about these issues. Thank you.
Yes, it definitely.
Okay, so Lieutenant, thank you so much for being here. I had a couple of questions and comments myself. First I want to say thank you to Silas and Councilmember McDufie's office for helping us kind of get us where we are right now. I definitely got some good emails from Captain Christian and Lieutenant Jessup about having a separate meeting. So I want to say thank you about that first. In my Lieutenant, in my single member district, there was a theft of 4 tires from a car right across the street from me, maybe like 3-4 days ago. I'm not sure if anything has been, any updates about that. I'm not sure if you know about that, or you could speak about that at all, because I know my immediate neighbors just want to know what's going on regarding that crime. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I'm not 100% sure, but again, if all you need to do is just shoot me an email, with the actual date and time, and then I'll be able to pull everything that's needed, and I can either respond back to you or call your number directly, and then just have that conversation and give updates from the detective's office.
Wonderful. So that's great. And then so also, Derek, this is for you.
Yes, sir.
We got these hats about maybe like a month ago or so, and we really haven't seen much else action or traction regarding the Orange Hat Patrol. Now, I'm making this kind of demonstrative statement because I live in the community, and we started this public safety task force, and we made promises to the community to follow through and follow up, and there has been no follow through at this point. And I'm not trying to just throw stones and that's it, but I really got to identify the fact that there's been no follow through around the public safety task force. I do want to recognize, and I listened to President Carmen Williams from North Michigan Park saying that the police presence has increased. So thank you. However, there's still issues regarding this Orange Hat Patrol, at least for 5A08, and I know for the greater 5A, that answers are still not been made or been created. And so, Derek, I'm disappointed because I know you do a great job, but we haven't heard from you. And folks are disappointed in me. So I'm making a clear statement that I need more consistency from you around what we started.
So,
hello. Excuse me. This is still Captain Christian, and with the Orange Hat Patrol, if and you know this is just hearing this. If you want to implement a Orange Hat Patrol, we can start it as early as next week. All you need to do, all you need to do is send me an email with the locations that you want to patrol. I'll have at least 2 officers out there, to particular time. And all I ask of you is to give me at least 5 or 6 people. If we get more, that'd be great. But just 5 to 6 people, and then we can go. And then I'll have my officers, walk with you, and you can actually pick whatever locations. And each week we can either do it twice a month, or we can do it, once a week. And then I will let you guys just pick what locations you would like to patrol. And it's something as simple as that. And it's really Orange Hat patrols because I ran quite a few of them, and it's really resident instituted, and it's something that with us, with the police department, we love it because it gives our officers some downtime with the residents. It's almost like a meet and greet thing, and then it also just kind of shows the criminals that we're all working together, and we can include government agencies. We can include DDOT or DPW, and we can just pick particular locations. But again, sir, I just ask you if you can send me an email, and we can start it next week.
Done deal. And just so you know, Mr. Bowser, Mrs. Bowser are my constituents. I'm blessed.
Your neighbor, yes. Mm-hmm.
3 houses down from me. So, and they got an orange hat too, so they're ready to go. So,
all right, yeah, great. Mm-hmm.
I don't need to do any more here. And again, Derek is great as well, but we got to have accountability.
Yes, sir. Mm-hmm.
Well, may I add to that? I think that the point that Commissioner Fletcher was trying to say, and I don't think he was able to get it through, is that if we have a specific person that is in charge of community engagement, and that particular person is not connecting the two, basically what you just promised that you would do, then there's a complete disregard of the process there with that particular person in charge of community engagement. In my community, we don't see any community engagement, any community policing at all. All we see is patrolling, and patrolling is in specific areas that sometimes they're not needed there. So the ultimate, I think what I heard was that we need better implementation. We need to see community policing. And if you could define what community policing is from your perspective, and so that Derek can do his job, then we can start moving forward. But
okay, and one of the things I just like to add, and this is to kind of explain community policing. At the 4th District, we work as a team, and if community policing, if this is something that we as a group would like to implement, and I say we as a group, and I'm talking about the police department and the residents, this is what we can we can achieve, but we actually have to work together. And you're asking me, how do I view community policing? I think we discussed this before, but I'll elaborate. Each community has their different concerns and different needs, so community policing will be different in every particular area. Now, the Orange Hats, I love that program. Again, it's something that in each district that I've worked at, the residents kind of galvanized together, fed us the information, and we showed up and we participated. And then each week we just brought another government agency, and we just hit different locations. A lot of times we did it in the spring and summertime, but if if everybody's, you know, willing to, you know, put the coats on and handle this right now, then we'll definitely be there.
Well, one thing to add, you know, Commissioner, I appreciate what my colleague said and the support. I want to be clear, just for myself on the record, I was happy and content in this conversation once you stated that we can get going with the Orange Hat Patrol right away. Once you said that to me, I was good. I don't want. I just
Yes,
want
sir. Thank you.
right here, right now. Okay.
Okay, could I and could I just for a moment just say something?
Go
Um,
ahead, Derek.
the I'm not certain what the expectation was as it relates to the orange hats. I facilitated the initial walk. I got the hats together. Um, Commissioner Fletcher, if you would like to set up a schedule like the captain said, I'm ready and available. Commissioner Behringer, like I said, moving forward, I had not received any correspondence from you prior to the email that you sent a couple weeks ago. I'm not sure where that came from, or but I'm here and I'm ready and available, and I'm sure Commissioner Lucio as well as Commissioner Washington can speak to my accountability and my dedication to the work that I do, including Commissioner Fletcher. So if you're reaching out for me from this
Absolutely.
point on, I will make sure that you are that I'm attentive to your needs. As you know, I'm not sure if you are aware, we did have a lot of activity here at the district in terms of what was happening. So with that being said, not to make any excuses, I just want to make sure you know that I'm here and I'm available to work. If you reach out to me, I'm very responsive. Commissioner Fletcher, again, once we set up the schedule, I'll be happy to talk to you.
But Derek, no, Derek, you are very responsive. You are great at that. But what I'm talking about, Derek, is being proactive regarding something that we started. We started the discussion and we started.
And let's talk offline. I don't want to take up time.
I know,
We
but I
can
just want
talk
to make
offline.
sure. I just want to make, because it's still respectful, because this is being recorded for the record. So I just want to make sure that certain things are being said. Because again, you do a great job. I'm talking about the follow through regarding the group homes that we were looking at in the community. There are other people that are looking for a follow up with you and Officer Greenfield, and we have not heard anything. That's what I'm specifically talking about. That's it. Besides that, again, you've been great.
Okay, and I will get that follow up to you. I spoke to the captain about that follow up, and he and I will get that follow up to you. We did involve some other agencies, so I wasn't aware that they did not reach out to you. That they actually got involved as we discussed. So I will follow up with them and also provide you the information of the agencies we involved in the on chat the last walk we had.
Thank you. Sorry, Mr. Chair. I had to do that. Sorry.
No,
Chair-
and
Chairman Edwards.
I just want to take the opportunity now to also add to the comments that have been from Commissioner Lucio, Commissioner Washington, Commissioner Fletcher, and all about the good work and the cooperation that we generally receive from the police department. We appreciate your work, Derek, Captain Christian. We appreciate your information, reports, and all the information you do for the community. We're all humans, and every now and then things don't work quite like we like for them to work, but that's not a reason for us to discredit our ongoing relationship. So I do appreciate that.
Chairman Edwards, we have 3 people in line to ask questions from the community.
3 people in line. We're going to take those 3 questions, and then after that, we're going to end the discussions with the police department because we do have other items. And who's the first one?
Okay, I think I'm going to knock out the first one pretty easily. David, unless you have more, it's my understanding that David Kosip is asking if you guys can, if Derek, if you can include your meeting information for December section 2, can you post that in the chat, please?
Yeah, I did already. I can repost it if necessary. You might need to scroll up. It's right above the information about the sector captains.
Okay.
But the next meeting, and I'll say it just for the record, is scheduled for December, Tuesday the 2nd, December. I'm sorry. It's the second Tuesday of every month in December, and the next meeting is December 8th. Forgive me.
Okay, thank you.
And it begins at 6 p.m. and it's via WebEx.
Okay, and then hold on a second, and then I've got Uchenna next.
Sorry, I still had a question though. Sorry, that was not the one question I wanted to ask.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, David. Go ahead.
Thank you. Yeah, it's actually related to Yushina's question about the 800 block of Oglethorpe. If there's any more updates that you can provide on that, and Yushina's question is about a camera there. But if I also may, a second question unrelated. At the Lamont Riggs Citizens Association, when the MPD representative was there, I asked if there was any updates on the Ramdas Pharmacy robbery from back, I don't know, earlier this calendar year. And they mentioned that it was a possibility that there was a DEA investigation because it crossed Maryland state line. If that's the case, do you have any additional information that you can share? So those two questions, that'd be awesome.
The 800 block of Oglethorpe, that goes back to the information that we spoke about earlier about these gang and crew beefs, and the recently released individuals that they were actually arrested for shooting for an ADW gun earlier this year, this summer. Now, because of the virus, they were released until their court date. And I would say a month after they released, these two individuals were released, our shootings increased drastically throughout the 4th District. So right now, like I said, the narcotics division has saturated, our area, the Riggs Park, and the Petworth area, attempting to locate these individuals. So right now, as far as the actual shooter, and the detectives actually still investigating this. And you mentioned a robbery of a pharmacy.
Yeah, Ramdas Pharmacy on Ingraham Street Northeast. It looks like sounds like the DEA is investigating because they may have crossed over into a similar issue related into Maryland. So I just didn't know if you had any additional info.
Yeah, and with that, that actually kind of goes back to our narcotics division. Narcotics division, they actually have a unit that's on a federal task force, and when we get these robberies of pharmacies, I guess I would say interstate between either DC and Maryland or DC and Virginia, the DEA picks up because our task force officers are attached to the DEA. So these are usually long-term investigations, and hopefully, right now I don't know. I don't have any updates on it, but yes, I can advise you that the DEA is helping investigate.
Great. Thank you very much.
Okay, and then so Katie, well, actually, Uchenna, you had another question. Does the city offer case management services to the recently released individuals? Did you address that?
You said does the city offer case management?
Right, services to these recently released individuals.
Oh, yes. Monitoring and case management. Usually CSOSA monitors them, and we work closely with CSOSA, and actually CSOSA has assisted us in our Riggs Park area with doing what they call site visits, and they'll go along with MPD to these particular recently released individuals and just do what we call door knocks. And, they'll go in and ask several interview questions. And they've assisted us within the last 3 to 4 weeks once we had our spike in assaults.
Great. And then thank you.
Can I actually ask my question was is there a permanent camera in the 800 block of Oglethorpe Street Northeast? Because I know for many years you all have been moving the mobile camera between Kennedy Street Northwest and 800 Oglethorpe Northeast. And so it seems to me the city should just spend however much money it takes to put a permanent camera in the 800 block of Oglethorpe Street Northeast.
No, there's no permanent camera, and the city, the police department, I guess they base it off of statistics, and and it usually comes from downtown. They'll look at where the homicides or shootings are occurring, and then this is when they'll purchase the cameras and the permanent cameras and put them up.
Well, I just like to suggest to the ANC that you all introduce a resolution to request a permanent camera in the 800 block of Oglethorpe Street Northeast, because we know that that's always where the shootings are. The city knows exactly who the individuals are. And I appreciate, Captain Christian, what you're saying about, the city offering case management services to these individuals. But it also just seems weird that there is not a permanent camera there. And it's like, we want more and more people to die to justify putting a permanent camera there. And that makes no sense to me at all. And I don't know who I should talk to about specifically case management service or safety net services that are being offered, because again, everyone knows who is responsible for these shootings. And it's like a few people. So I'm still just at a loss as to why we're kind of wringing our hands as if this is really, really hard to get our minds around. But anyways, thank you, Captain Christian.
Right.
Thank you.
And then finally, we have Katie Beckman with a question.
Pardon squealing kiddo, but in our neighborhood there was an abandoned purse in the alley, and the neighbor wanted me to ask what to do about inquiries like that. They called it into 311, and somebody had said when it was answered, they said it had already been called in and it sat there for days. So people just didn't know what to do, like if they should throw it away or if they should. Yes, my love. Or if they should call somebody else.
Still, you said, is it the abandoned purse still there? Hello?
I have no idea. I'm asking on behalf of the neighbor, and I don't know.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. If you would like to give your neighbor my information, he or she can give me a call or send me an email, and I can have an officer come out this evening and get the person. And what we'll do is put it on our property book and go through it and attempt to find the owner of the purse.
I guess the question is, where should those calls generally go? Is it to you?
No, usually to our non-emergency number, and or if you even called 911 and told them, gave them the information, they would redirect it to the non-emergency number, and which is has oversight by the Office of Unified Communications. It's not a police department entity. And then they'll prioritize it and then send an officer out to the location. And I guess from my understanding, an officer never came out to recover the purse.
I'm texting my neighbor now to ask, but I don't know.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. And again, I'll give you my information, and he or she can give me a call.
All right. And on that note, I want to bring this part of the conversation to an end. I want to thank you, Captain Christian, for your report. I kind of, I'm thinking back to when ANC 5A used to have quarterly meetings just focused on police stuff. And I'm thinking now that, it sounds like we have enough problems going on. We may want to circle back with you and maybe set up something, because this has been a very good discussion here we've had, but we've used almost 45 minutes or more this evening sort of on this issue. So it seems to me that we probably need to have a meeting probably in the very near future that's just focused solely on police issues. And so
we could do that, and I would appreciate that, and it would be again, let's not discount my Sector 2 meetings, and it'd be strictly on on police stuff, and this is when we can kind of discuss a lot of the problems that we're having. But please don't hesitate to contact me, and we can discuss what we want to do moving forward.
Thank you. It's a good point. We will definitely take advantage of the Sector 2 meetings. Commissioner Washington advised us of that at the beginning, at the start of the meeting.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But yes, a very good report. Thanks to both you and Derek.
All right. Happy holidays to everyone.
Same to you. All right, I see that our school board member, Zachary Parker, is on. Commissioner Berrigan, you have the floor.
Thank you. So Zachary Parker is a third generation educator. He is now serving as the elected Ward 5 representative on the State Board of Education. Mr. Parker will present an update on the work and issues related to education, which I feel is specifically important at this time due to the fact that our students and parents have been resiliently dealing with virtual learning due to COVID. So thank you for being here and giving us an update.
Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner, for inviting me, and ANC 5A for having me tonight. I've been making my rounds to various ANCs and civic associations, as many families and communities have a ton of questions around school reopening. When are things safe? What are the expectations that I should have as a parent if my child has an IEP and the school is not giving them their services, and on and on and on. I will try to be as brief as I can tonight. I'm going to talk a little bit about DCPS reopening and what the plan is. I will share some updates around my personal work in Ward 5, and then an exciting update and about an initiative that may be of interest to the community. First, I would just start very briefly by talking about the State Board of Education, or as it's often dubbed, the school board, because I know everyone is not on the same page there. The State Board of Education is the DC's only duly elected educational body. As was mentioned, I have the privilege of representing Ward 5 on that body, and we oversee things like graduation requirements, learning standards, attendance policies, parent engagement policies, the DC's federal guidelines as it relates to ESSA, which is a federal education policy, so on and so forth. And it oversees regulations that apply to both DCPS and charter schools. So that's what the State Board of Education is. I'm going to try very briefly to share my, is there any way I can share my screen? Is there possible to get the rights to share my screen for a presentation really briefly?
Yep, just give me a second, Zachary.
And while we're doing that, I would just say, in terms of school reopening, many of you may have read the headlines or saw on the news that DCPS and our teachers union continues to go back and forth. In fact, there was a note out today that the teachers union is declining an agreement with DCPS. And so that will be important as I just share a little bit more about DCPS's reopening plan. So if you give me 1 second, hopefully this works. All right. I'm not going to go through this whole deck. I just want to highlight certain aspects of it. This was a presentation provided by the DCPS chancellor per my request that I want to share. And what I can do is send this to you all for your records, but also commissioners, so that you may be able to distribute to constituents. A few things I will highlight. DCPS is committing that every school will receive a school readiness checklist that is met before students are sent back into schools. You can see here on the screen, and for those who may be calling in, it just says that every school will be required to have personal protective equipment for students, cleaning supplies. There will be space arrangements, signage, water, HVAC equipment enhancements, and plumbing systems that are fully functioning. The reason why these things are important is because this is not already a given at some of our schools, unfortunately. And so this is the expectation. Schools are doing walkthroughs. I know the council member recently did a walkthrough. I've done a walkthrough. Commissioners, you may be invited to do various walkthroughs, but the headline here is that should you require or request it, every school should be able to produce their checklist to sign off on. DCPS has invested significant resources in making sure our schools are up to speed. $24 million to make sure HVAC systems in schools are up to date, as well as $3.6 million to ensure that schools have personal protective equipment on site. It is important to note that that personal protective equipment does not include testing. DCPS currently does not have a plan to test every student and teacher that would enter school buildings. Their stated plan is to test those that are demonstrating symptoms, which many people are concerned with. And a few other things I would just highlight here. We are currently in term 2. As I was mentioning, the back and forth between DCPS and the teachers union has one very large ramification, which means that students are not able to resume in-person learning at our DCPS schools. That said, today marks the day where at 35 campuses across DC, DCPS launched their CARES classrooms, which is an abbreviated title for bringing some students, I think the number is around 7,000 students, back into classrooms where they will be under supervised care to engage in online learning. It is important to note and share with constituents that these supervisors are not teachers. They are support staff. And if you look at this bottom right quadrant, DCPS is committing that these individuals will have an active background check, fingerprinting, that they'll be required to have a high school diploma as well as 24 college credits. Again, this is important because they are not teachers, and this is an opportunity for parents to have some sense of reprieve, but also to go to work if that is needed. And then the last thing I would just say is we are still waiting for updates from DCPS on what the decision will be for term 3, but for the foreseeable future, it seems that the roughly 7,000 students that are in CARES classrooms around the district will continue, while the vast majority of students will continue in online learning. The 2 Ward 5 campuses that have been identified for CARES classrooms are Noyes Elementary and Wheatley Education Campus, Wheatley in Trinidad, Noyes in Brooklyn. And DCPS has notified communities that more schools will likely come online. I would imagine that will be contingent on that checklist and schools meeting the requirements of the checklist that I referenced earlier. So that's the DCPS update. As for a few other updates I want to share with you, the State Board of Education, as I mentioned, that is the board or the body that I represent Ward 5 on. We are working with OSSE to ensure that all LEA campuses have updated education plans that are available to the public. In the chat, when I get done sharing my link or sharing my screen, I will drop in the link here where you can access the educational plan for whatever school community you're interested in. That is for both DCPS as one large LEA as well as individual charter campuses. The reason why this is important is because that will inform families and parents around what their rights are, what they should be expecting in terms of the learning that is afforded to students. I've fielded dozens and dozens of calls, again, around students not receiving services or parents confused around what they should be able to expect or require. These learning plans would be the place where I would send community members should they have those questions. Almost done here. I would also just highlight my newsletter where these type of updates and others are included. In my last newsletter, I talked about raising over $10,000 to distribute school supplies to school communities across Ward 5. We were able to donate 300 backpacks filled with school supplies to families and students across the ward, which I'm very proud of. And since then, we're using leftover resources from that to bless certain school communities. So I think I saw Myron Long on the call tonight, fearless leader of the social justice schools. We were also able to bless them with Wi-Fi and school uniforms for their students. And there are other updates that are important in terms of policy as well as events that I will be sure to drop in the chat. So if you're not receiving it, you can sign up for the newsletter. Last but not least, as I'm going to stop sharing my screen, tomorrow at 6 o'clock, I am teaming up with my predecessor, Mark Jones. For those who may not be familiar, Mark Jones led or represented Ward 5 on the State Board of Education for some 10 years, and had a very noteworthy career on the board. We're teaming up to launch the Ward 5 Education Trust, which is an opportunity for us to stand up a nonprofit organization that will collect resources and money and finances from developers, from businesses, individuals, in an attempt to provide resources to Ward 5 school communities. Why is this important? Because although DC continues to increase its investment in its schools, we know many of our school communities are going without sufficient resources, whether that is a needed computer lab, a needed teacher. Maybe they want to take students on a trip, but they just really can't make it work within the budget. Just as a point of reference, there are PTAs in Ward 3 that are currently sitting on a bank account with over $1 million. I'm thinking of Janney Elementary, for instance. That $1 million is able to subsidize the educational resources and learning opportunities afforded to those students. And so this endeavor is an opportunity for us to do the very same here in Ward 5. I recently talked to Jeanette Mobley, and longtime Ward 5 resident, former leader of Ward 5 Dems, who talked about a similar endeavor in the 80s and 90s, I believe at Luke Seymour. And so we're trying to do this same type of thing. It's not new, but in an effort to support our Ward 5 school communities. What I will do in the chat, if you are interested in joining and just learning more, tomorrow at 6 o'clock, we're going to have an informational meeting about ways that you can get involved and support this effort. So that's what I have. I will put my contact information in the chat as well as these links, but I'm happy to answer any questions if time permits. But again, ANC 5A, I really appreciate you for allowing me to share.
Yeah, we're gonna take a few questions. I just have one, and I think you may have said I know that there is the ongoing dispute between the mayor, the executive, and the schools and the union. What is your position on opening schools?
Great question. I was trying not to assert my opinion. I was trying to just give the facts. Quite frankly, I think it is not safe to send students or adults into schools. I know parents are struggling. I know. I think there are some smaller school communities like Social Justice, like Rocket Ship, like other Two Rivers, for instance. Many Ward 5 communities are able to do this. I think with rising rates, it's not safe to do it at scale that it would require at a LEA like DCPS. That said, if we are going to require folk to go back into school buildings, I think it should be optional. Parents that choose to send their kids back, teachers that elect to go back. I think where we're getting into dangerous territory is where we're forcing teachers to put their lives at risk, which is why the teachers union is pushing back.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Any other questions?
I know I have two. So you had mentioned that some if a parent does request for their student to participate in the CARES process or program, or I have heard from parents that they asked to participate specifically from K to 3, but they were not, and they're immigrant parents, but they were denied. So how does a parent request to participate in the CARES program if they were denied?
Great question. It is not by request, it is by invitation only. And there are a very limited amount of seats, as you can imagine. I believe the magic number is 7,000 students roughly. That number may likely change the more schools that are coming online. And DCPS has stated that they're going to start with those furthest from opportunity. So our most disadvantaged students, those with IEPs, those at risk are getting the invitation first.
Thank you. That's really good to know, because like, again, this was an immigrant mother who had to go to work and she just needed that help and she was not invited. The other question I had is, so teachers were only given $200 for virtual learning needs. Parents cannot travel across the city to access or retrieve the free food that some of the schools are providing. This is specifically related to charter schools. So what is being done? I don't know if these concerns were raised, because right now in virtual learning, there's a lot of need, and I'm really happy that you're instituting this fund, because that fund could address these issues. So, but has there been any talk about like adding additional funding for virtual learning?
There has not been any talk that I am aware of, and that is a perfect example of why this type of education trust is needed. We know annually teachers are coming out of pocket significant amounts of money, we just need to do more for our school communities and students. But no, there is not a plan as far as I'm aware of.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other
questions? So Katie has some comments she's made in the chat. Katie, do you want to talk about your comments? And also, I'm sorry, real quick. And Zachary, you were going to post the link on how you choose your school. I think that's the only link you haven't posted in there.
Yep, not choose your school, but it is the link for the learning plan. So you should be able to go here and find the learning plan for your school.
Thank you.
All right, who we got up?
Katie.
So a note, I do not have a K through 12 age child, but have elected to have everybody home. So we have a party every day, but I've been sort of watching those that I do know have children who are either school aged or are going into shared spaces, whether it's a daycare or a school. And one thing I just want to note is that as the cases increase, as COVID becomes more saturated in the general public, it becomes increased risk the more we think about whether or not children should go back to school. If anything could be more consistent, like if the general population had more access to N95s, if children were plausibly going to wear them, if testing was universal, then maybe it might be a little bit safer. But like, even with all those precautions, like people are inconsistent in grocery stores, and we walk through clouds of whatever they're breathing out, and it's just, those are the considerations, and we need to do whatever we have to help our neighbors stay home, regardless of their circumstance, and especially if they have the most need, and make it as comfortable as possible for them to do that. So thank you, Zachary, for the book or the backpack program. My colleague Maurice Cook did a similar thing through Ward 6 mutual aid, and it's vital. That mutual aid is vital because it's not a given from the city government. And I think we need to do a mixture of collective organizing at the community level, as well as asking a bit more of the government.
Absolutely, absolutely. Another point of just quick information, DCPS has gone on record to say, when asked what is the metric or threshold that would require DCPS to shut down even CARES classrooms, to my knowledge, they have refused to give that metric or threshold and have said instead they are looking to DC Health. So if that is a question that you have, I would encourage you to look to DC Health.
Okay. All right. I want to thank you for attending our meeting today. It's been, I think this is your first one. We are always open. So if there's any thing that you think you want to discuss with us, feel free to reach out and let us know, because we always, we like being informed.
Absolutely. I will, I'm going to take you up on that offer. And the recommendation you even made to the sergeant, I would love to come back quarterly just to provide educational updates if you would have me.
All right, we don't have a problem with that.
Awesome.
Feel free to email me and I'll make sure to add you to the agenda.
Awesome, we'll do. And Commissioner, I will also send all of these links via email just in case that's helpful.
Yeah, I just sent you an email. If you can send them to me, I can distribute them all at once with everything else.
Got it, we'll do.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. I want to circle back a few minutes because it kind of slipped me earlier as we were talking when the police was here, and Uchenna had sort of raised the issue about a camera in the 800 block of Oglethorpe. And I'm looking at the email and the conversations going on here. So I see that is in Commissioner Wiles' SMD, and normally the process for doing that has been indicated is through the commissioner on your block. So Commissioner Utena, we do not meet again, we're not scheduled to meet again until next year, but I do believe that with some things we got going on, like with the updates to the website and some other stuff, there may be a potential for a meeting so that we can take up the issue. I don't want to delay that request any longer than we need to, really, though, because I think if all you need is the support of the ANC to get a camera installed, then I don't think that should be too much of a major issue to get our support. So let me talk with Commissioner Wiles, and then you know, let's chat over the next few days. I might, in talking with Commissioner Lucio, and if there's anything else that's going on, we may have a special meeting sometime between now and the middle of December. So I just wanted to let you know that that did not go unnoticed. The next item on the agenda, I want to move back up to the, okay, we're at Lamont Riggs Library now, and Ruben, Hamid, and I know the team from the library has been waiting very patiently.
Mr. Chairman, I'm sorry to interrupt you. We've also got Malik Miller and Silas Grant to do their reports. Are we going to do, they've been waiting for a while as well.
Okay, yeah, we're gonna go back to them after we get finished with Lamont Riggs.
Good evening, commissioners.
Good evening.
I'm Jaspreet Pawa with DC Public Library, and I lead the design and construction of neighborhood libraries. I'm here with the design build team members for the project, including Ruben, Hamid, and Peter Cook. I'm also joined by Library Spectacular Community Representative Martha Secocchio. Martha, if you can wave at everybody. We're also joined by Robin Imperial, our branch manager. Robin, can you wave at everybody? Also from Consigli Construction is Todd Buffington. As many of you may recall, the project was presented at ANC's December 11th, 2019 meeting. Ruben, can we share the screen with everybody because we've got a deck that we would like to share?
Yes, I'm waiting to get host control.
I just gave her host control. Who needs it? Ruben?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so I gave it to the wrong person. So yeah, you just need to request that. So just hold on a second.
Thank you.
Yep. Okay, you should be all set.
All right. As you may recall, the project was presented at ANC's December 11th meeting last year, and the final design update was shared at the ANC's May 27th virtual meeting earlier this year. We are very grateful for your support in the design of the project, and we will continue to keep you informed on the project progress. At any point, the community has any concerns, you can reach Martha Secocchio, and I'm requesting, Martha, if you can share your email in the chat window, that would be great. Quickly refreshing everybody on the project timeline. Ruben, can we shift to the next slide?
Sorry, having a little technical difficulty here. All right, can you see the presentation?
No, we see you now.
Great. Now you should see it.
Yep.
All right.
Okay. So the
Ruben, is it possible we're seeing two there?
There you go.
There we go.
Yeah.
Next slide, please. So we are here to solicit your support for a BZA special exception for the lot occupancy as well as parking spaces. The lot occupancy and parking configuration is unchanged from what was shown to you during the May meeting. Next slide. And we'll quickly, for refreshing everybody's memory, we'll quickly look at the project timeline. Ruben, can we jump to the next slide, please? Thank you. We finished design in May, which is when we came to you and the community at large to show the final design. And the library was vacated and turned over to Consigli Construction in June earlier this year. Consigli Construction has completed the hazardous abatement during the summer. And as of 2 weeks ago, all the utility services, including Pepco, Washington Gas, DC Water, Verizon, have disconnected and given us the raise letters. Earlier today, DCRA was on site and completed the last inspection. At this point, we are awaiting the raise permit from DCRA, which is expected within the next week or so. And once the raise permit is on hand, Consigli will be able to start taking the building down. With that, I will turn it over to Peter to share the project design very briefly. And Peter will be followed by Ruben to walk through the specifics of the BZA request. I will be on standby, as will Todd Buffington from Consigli Construction, to answer any questions you all may have. Thank you. Peter, over to you.
Thank you, Jaspreet, and good evening, everyone. Thank you very much for your time. And I will try to run through this very quickly so we can really get to the heart of the matter here. What you're seeing here is the approved design. This should be familiar to many, perhaps all of you here. We have presented this to the community. We have presented this to the Commission of Fine Arts. We've presented this to you. And this is what a rendering of the building as we've designed it and has been approved. This, of course, is simply a view from South Dakota Avenue during the day. And then this is now a view of it during the nighttime. A two-story building, about 23,500 square feet. And off to the left in this is where the parking lot is, and we'll be talking a little bit more about that. In front, towards the right, is where there will be an outdoor patio where people can access some furniture out there. And then on the right is Jefferson Street. If we go to the next slide, Ruben, we'll just kind of briefly walk you through the floor plans just so everybody's kind of familiar with where things are in the building. Again, two-story building. What you're seeing here is the ground level plan. And off to the left where the big red arrow is at the bottom, you see main entry. That is obviously the main entry. That's where you walk in the building through a vestibule. Adjacent to that is a book drop area. But then once you move into the building, you're into what we're calling the marketplace, a large, open, and active space. Off to the left is a staircase that takes you up to the second floor. Directly in front of you is an elevator that takes you up to that second floor. Also adjacent to that is the main information desk. Off to the right is a large meeting room, which is divisible in two, and that should be able to accommodate at least 100 people when both halves of it are open. In the upper right, of course, is the children's discovery zone. And then generally speaking, in the upper left is where the staff workrooms are and other support spaces. There are other access points there as well, building support entry, as well as a dedicated staff area that you see off to the left. If we go up to the second floor, and again, the bottom left is where that staircase is. There's an elevator that takes you up, and this takes you up to this upper level. And again, there's a large open area that moves from left to right, the reading area. There's a productivity center, anything, anytime space. And then finally, a living room that anchors it on the right side, on the bottom right side of this image. In the upper right, you can begin to see that, of course, is where the adult services area is. That's a large, open, airy space that will be shared by teen services. And then there's also an outdoor space there, which is a balcony space that overlooks Jefferson Street. And again, like in the lower level, in the upper left, you can begin to see that there are some staff spaces, staff workroom and a lounge, as well as a study that anchors that edge adjacent to the teen services. And of course, on both levels, stacked one on top of the other, are the main toilet rooms of the space labeled M and W. So that's really just the quick overview of where we were, where we still are today. And now we'll get into the issues that we're really talking about today, and that is zoning. So Ruben.
Thanks, Peter. So start off, let's talk about the zone that this project is in. The library is located in R2 residential zone, which is typically a single family detached or semi-detached residence. Across the street, South Dakota is planned unit development. which is ongoing. Typically on the residential zone, as I mentioned, they're detached or single family, semi-detached houses, typically no more than 40 feet in height, and they don't use any more lot occupancy than 40% for the zoning regulations. So let's talk about the lot occupancy of the library. The existing library is about almost 1,100 square feet, 10,900 and some change, and is currently taking up about 47% of the lot. Of course, there's a number of kind of like other constraints with the R2 zone, including rear yard setbacks and side yard setbacks. And you kind of see property line in red, the setback lines in the blue, the outline of the existing building, and the off-street kind of site parking kind of laid out in this existing condition. In our proposed condition for the new library design, we're planning on taking a little more of the lot, which makes this program that everybody loves really work for the new library. So we're taking about 11,500 square feet of space on the lot. Still fitting within all the other side and rear yard kind of constraints, and maintaining the parking in the existing location. And we'll talk a little more about the parking. That's kind of our second variance that we're seeking for zoning. So as like a quick summary for the special exceptions that we're seeking for the lot occupancy. As I said before, it's zoned for 40%. The existing library is taking 47%, which I'll give a caveat, that's 7% over the kind of required zoning that the existing library is taking. Our proposed library lot occupancy is 49.5%. So in total, the deviation from the zoning requirements is 9.5%, but we're only looking to increase the footprint of the existing library by 2.5%. That hopefully helps put that in perspective, what we're asking for. And typically, you know, with a public building like a library, usually neighborhood buildings, we have managed to kind of keep the scale reasonable and fit in all the kind of program requirements and yield a lot more usable space than what your existing library does. Now we'll talk a little bit about the parking. Now this is the existing kind of parking configuration. You can see I have the property line in the red and existing building there in the blue. Currently there's 11 parking spaces on the existing lot. We have a non-compliant kind of handicap space, which is space designated as number 1 on this sketch. That space actually falls on the property line, which is not allowed. And also is not van accessible handicapped parking space. And
what, I'm sorry, can I ask quickly, why is it non-compliant?
Because we're not allowed to have parking outside of the property line, and the red line is the property line, and the property line goes right in front of the face of the building, and that first parking space kind of overlays on the property line.
But does it meet the measurement requirements for ADA accessible?
No, it does not.
So you're not going to be able to label it a handicap space?
Well, this is the existing condition that I'm talking about right now.
Okay.
So the existing handicap parking space, which is there, does not meet.
Got it. Sorry, my mistake.
Yeah, yeah.
Sorry.
trust me, on our new layout, we'll meet all of the requirements and standards, but that's kind of the caveat on why we ended up with having fewer parking spaces. But I'll kind of explain that as I go through. Also in space number 11, is kind of a limited access space. Maybe you can fit like a small compact car in there, but it's really difficult because there's a dumpster that kind of impedes like that existing 11 space on the lot. And also, I like to point out the two kind of like entry drives, entry drive number 2 and entry drive number 1. Entry drive number 2 is actually
there may be a way where you could still charge for the recording.
Entry drive number 2 is it's a non-compliant entry drive because it's within 50 feet of the corners of South Dakota and Kennedy Street. So this is our existing parking condition. The proposed parking condition, we're proposing the 9 spots. Now, spot number 1, that's going to be our ADA van accessible spot, which will be striped and width compliant. And if you look past spot number 9, we're kind of leaving that area empty and striping it to be access for rollout bins for dumpster and recycling, which we're going to have in the back of the building. Like I kind of mentioned before, per DDOT regulations, we are removing that closest existing entry drive on the corner of South Dakota and Kennedy Street. And we're widening the remaining entry drive. So it's wide enough for a 2-way entry and exit into the parking area. So these are kind of like the constraints that we have with the building and the parking, and the reason why we have a slight reduction in what the minimum required parking is. So in kind of summary, the zone parking requirements is 11 spaces. The existing parking is 11 spaces. But of course, not all of those existing spaces are compliant. The proposed parking is 9 spaces. And we have a kind of deviation of 2 spaces from what's required in the zoning. So that's why we're seeking a special exception relief for those 2 parking spaces. So in kind of like summary, overall summary, we're seeking ANC support for our BZA case for a special exception for increased lot occupancy and for parking relief. So as I kind of said before, 40% is the zone requirement. We're seeking 47.5%, and 11 spaces is the zoning requirement for a lot, but we're seeking to only have 9. Are there any questions?
So I just want to make sure, I think in terms of what you've explained, let me make sure I can understand what you're asking of us. So in the current location, the building is taking up 47% of the lot, and you're proposing 49%. The original lot required an exception, and so you're just asking us to continue sort of the exception, giving us a larger space here. With regard to the parking, which you know it's going to be a problem for us, but I know you are good and you can convince us that it makes sense for us to agree to a 2-space reduction. So so are those did I hit the 2 major points, I think, in terms of what you're asking
Correct.
Okay. And so just help me again, tell me, I know I should know, but so why should we be excited about approving a 2 parking space reduction? And so help me understand that.
Sure.
Okay.
You know, as we kind of like discussed previously during like the design process, trying to fit all of the things that the community wanted for this library: outdoor space, balconies, ability to kind of like fit all of the like the interior amenities and accessibility standards, in conjunction with kind of all the site constraints with the side yard constraints, backyard constraints. There's only like a certain part of the lot which can actually yield itself to fitting the building. And then once you kind of to like take those constraints, you take like the constraints of DDOT with like entry, you take constraints with, you know, minimum parking widths, minimum drive aisle widths. You take into consideration not being able to place parking outside of the lot lines and lot restriction lines. It really becomes difficult to kind of get both building and parking onto this site. So it's been kind of discussed in previous ANC meetings that yes, unfortunately, we'll probably end up with like a reduction, but overall, I think the community will be very happy with the project. There is available street parking. Is fairly close to the metro. It is like a community library, so hopefully there'll be people biking. We're providing bike parking spaces exterior of the building. You have other ride share services and bike share services, and it's kind of like the district's goal to kind of be multimodal and just not car transportation, but multiple ways of getting from place to place.
Tell me in terms of schedule now, when do you need this from us and when do we need to get it? When do we need to get it to the zoning?
Well, our zoning hearing is January the 13th. So the sooner we can get this from you, the better. We need to have it, I believe, a minimum of 2 weeks prior to the hearing for our package, all of like the testimonies and things like that. And
now, you submitted a application. Is there sort of like something that you can submit to us that sort of lays this out and then sort of explains that justification that you just gave? That was a very good justification.
Yeah.
You know, and if you could get that to us in short order, then I'm gonna now turn to the commissioners and just kind of see what they are thinking, and you know, we may be able to get something out here for you this evening. I'm not sure.
I have a question, Chairman Edwards.
Okay, Commissioner Lucio.
Thank you for that presentation. And I think, as you know from previous questions, ADA access is a key issue for me. So I'm very happy to see that that ADA parking spaces are being put in. And if that is part of the issue with having the number of spaces, I do applaud that effort. I do want to add ask one question though, and that is that you did not mention anything about bike. You mentioned that you wanted to make this a very easily walkable city place, and are you going to have bike parking for people who bike there? Are you working with Bike Share to offer bikes? What are you doing in terms of other modes of transportation? I do want to also mention there's a couple questions in the chat. One of them is from Mr. Oliver, who I know you've worked a lot with, who asks why hasn't he agrees with the zoning adjustment? Why hasn't this request been pursued sooner? Which I'm curious as well. So if you can address those two questions, and that's all I've got. So thank you.
Sure. I'll address the bike parking question first. Yes, there is bike parking is required per zoning to have a certain number of bike parking spaces, and we have them like right by the front entry of the building. I don't know if I can pull up a plan again or not, but I can show you exactly where those are.
In the interest of time, let's just keep it brief.
Okay, but yes, they're at the front entry, by the walkway coming from the parking lot into the building. There's a number of bike parking stations there, and there's also interior bike parking for the staff as well.
Okay, all right, thank you. And then Mr. Oliver's question about the why now, and why wasn't this presented earlier? Since
well, we did talk about this coming down the pike during the previous ANC meetings, that we did need special exceptions for lot occupancy and special exception for the parking. That was something that we kind of like newly discovered as we further developed the site and laid out the parking and things like that. So I mean, we have came in front of the ANC to kind of discuss those issues before. And now that we're like in our kind of permitting process and everything, this is required for permitting. So it's the optimum time to kind of get this special exception submitted and approved.
okay, one last ADA question. Are you working with the city as you go around reconstruction of that area to ensure that there's a curb cut on South Dakota?
Curb cut on South Dakota. I'm not quite sure.
And curb cut on South Dakota and Jefferson.
Curb cut for pedestrian crossing or curb cut for vehicle?
No, curb cut for handicap access for pedestrians.
Yes.
Yeah, and also for traffic mitigation.
Say that.
Traffic calming. Sorry.
Traffic calming as well.
Well, currently on the corner of South Dakota and Kennedy, there is a stoplight, and there are curb cuts, South Dakota and Kennedy, that cross South Dakota and Kennedy. There's also curb cuts on Jefferson that cross Jefferson, but there is no kind of traffic control at that corner across South Dakota. So there are no additional curb cuts being proposed with this project outside of the ones which are existing for pedestrians.
Okay, I guess it's just as you move forward with the plans, I'm assuming you'll come back and present to us, and so we can continue to see what sort of is going on with that, because I think that those are very key issues to this community.
Yeah, I'll answer on behalf of the library. Absolutely, we're committed to keeping ANC very informed on the construction progress. And with the right team members from construction team, we will come back, and the design team will be there as well to walk you through the project evolution. So absolutely, we'll sync up with you on what the frequency for that makes sense once we get rolling. But absolutely, we will do so.
Thank you. That's all from me, Chairman Edwards.
Any other questions? Commissioners, I have a question for you. Now, you've heard the presentation. They need this by January the 13th. We need to probably try to get it as soon as possible if we don't do it tonight, but I am open to entertaining a motion since we are very familiar with the library and this project. I generally don't, and we don't have an application before us, which is what we normally would need in order to vote on something. But the request here is clear, I think, in terms of what he's asking for. Commissioners, what is your pleasure?
Chairman Edwards, I'd make a motion that we support the request for a 2-space reduction with their BCA request for the LUD, the lead occupancy, as well as the 2-space reduction.
Commissioner Lewis, and I second.
Okay, it's been properly moved and seconded that ANC 5A support the request here from the library team for these exceptions for the occupancy and parking. Question. I think commissioners, I'm comfortable with this motion if we add some conditions, and those conditions pretty much would just be the things that we have already talked about in terms of them getting us the information that we need in order to make sure that we can get the resolution done. Are we okay with that, Ruben?
Oh yeah, I'm okay with that. And I'm surprised that you don't have the application that we submitted, because that should have been sent to you, but I most certainly can email that to you right away and follow up with why that didn't get.
And look, let's don't quote it, and let's don't say for sure that we don't have it, because we
okay. Yeah. But I'll make sure that you guys do get. I'll email a PDF copy of it after this meeting.
All right. Any other unreadiness, commissioners? Will you accept my friendly amendment with that condition?
I will.
All right. So, okay, commissioners, you heard the motion. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Let the record reflect that that vote was unanimous. All right. We thank you, Ruben and team, for a great, good presentation. Anything you want to say in closing before you leave?
No, just thank you for all of the support and input that the commission has given during this project, and we look forward to coming back and kind of updating you as the construction continues.
All right.
Thank you from the library's behalf as well. Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you very much.
Oh, Jaspreet, before you guys leave, I would like to know, since the raise permit has been in the process of being finalized, when do you believe we can actually start construction? When will the ball hit the wall?
So what we do know, good evening, Mr. Oliver. What we do know is that we are within weeks of getting the raise permit. And at this point, we are going to proceed with taking the building down. Obviously, the building permit process, as you know, is a separate process. But if past is any indicator, this should be fairly smooth as well. Within a couple of months of getting our raise permit, we should get the building permit as well. Again, I say that with the caveat that this is beyond library's control. I can only quote based on what our past precedents have been. The one thing that's great about this is that it's gone through what's called a velocity program, which is a pilot program that DCRA has piloted, where we paid additional money for expedited process. And Todd from Consigli Construction. Todd, do you want to chime in on anything else that I've spoken to? Todd, you're on mute.
Okay, while he's working on that, I have a follow-up question. From what I'm hearing, realistically, we won't start tearing the building down until probably January. According to everything I've seen, there's going to be an 18-month time period before the new library opens. So we're talking about the summer of 22. Is that correct in your estimation?
I wouldn't say it's summer of 22 at this point, but we will keep you very, very posted as soon as we have the dependencies out of the way. At this point, we are unable to say what that date would be. It would not be as long as 18 months for sure, but there are a lot of dependencies. and I would try and stay credible without committing to something at this point. Martha will continue to be the point person for keeping community informed. We will be back here with ANC, giving you timely information, sharing with you the obstacles, the challenges. We want to create a fantastic library, not cut any corners, not violate any rules. So please bear with us. At the end of the day, we want to make you happy and give you a fantastic library.
Thank you.
I thank you, and Mr. Oliver. You have another question, Mr. Oliver? Something else? I want to try to end this conversation. I wanted to catch Silas. He's trying to get out, and he has something he need to go to. You need.
I'm done. I'm done. Go ahead.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. All right. You finished. Ruben, you and the team, y'all finished?
Yes.
Yes, we are. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you all. And as soon as I get that email from you guys, we will turn something around and get the resolution, get our resolution back to you.
All right.
Okay. All right. Now, Silas, before you leave, and you don't have to stay. I know you told me you just text me and you got to go. Anything you need to tell us before you get out? He may already be gone.
Mr. Chair, just if he's out, I just want to be respectful also to one of my presenters from Social Justice School. He has 2 young children, and so he's asking if he could present at this time. Very quick updates. I know it won't be long. There's not even a presentation. He's just going to give some updates, and that's it. And then one person after him.
So just to let you know, Silas has left the meeting.
Okay. All right. So where you trying to go off my schedule, and I know your people. I had UDC coming up next. I do believe here.
This will be quick.
Okay, who do we have here from UDC? And are you
Hi.
Okay?
Hi, hello. This is Dr. Zendadel from UDC.
Okay. Are you okay with waiting for one more? It's your turn now. According to my agenda I have before me, and I recognize you if your time is tight as well.
We need not 10 minutes. I don't know if that is too much for the other parties. We can wait. If not, maybe we can go ahead. So that's
Chairman Edwards, Malik Miller from the mayor's office also has a tight timeline. He's texting me right now.
Okay.
And he's got a guest with him as well that I think is important for us to meet.
All right. And with that note in mind, I want to stick with how long is your meeting with Rocket Ship going to take, Commissioner Fletcher? Because
Rocket Ship is not speaking, and Social Justice School is just giving a quick update.
Okay, so Social Justice is going to give a quick update. Okay, come on.
There we go.
Okay, I'll be very quick. Hello, everyone. Thank you all for letting me be here. My name is Myron Long. I'm the founder and executive director of the Social Justice School. Do have 2 kids in the background, so I apologize if there's any noise. I just wanted to come back and provide quick updates. Thank you all for your support. Our charter was approved. We did launch our school. We have 50 scholar activists who are enrolled in our school community. At first, we had planned on being fully remote. However, based on some feedback from our parents, we do have a very small subset of students who are in the building who come 4 out of 5 days a week, about 10 students on a consistent basis. We prioritize those seats for our scholar activists who receive specialized instruction or whose parents were first responders and parents who are experiencing homelessness as well. We've continued to be very active in the community, still providing opportunities for our families to get gift cards and gift packages from us in regards to the food shortage that some of our families are experiencing because of COVID-19. We partnered with the Rodham Institute in order to provide meals to our families for Thanksgiving and for December as well. And, we hope that in the future, you all can come by and see the building once things open up. But again, just wanted to continue to build that partnership, provide that update. I will tell you that the majority of our students come from Ward 5 and 8, which we're really excited about, and 70% of our students are at risk. So we are definitely serving the most marginalized students. I know that was one of the concerns earlier. So I just wanted to thank you all for your support. That's it. If you have any questions, I can put my email in the chat, but thank you all so much.
And we're done, Mr. Chair. I think you're on mute.
Oh, I'm sorry. I said I just wanted to thank you guys for coming back and giving us an update. Glad to hear that everything is going well for you. Commissioner Fletcher is always sort of watching and keeping us abreast of what's going on. So if there's anything that you guys need, feel free to sort of reach out to us and let us know.
Will do. Thank you all. Have a good evening.
All right. What I'd like to do now is jump to Malik. Malik, you got 5 minutes. Is that enough time for you, Malik?
I don't even need that much time. We don't have any updates. What I do want to say is this will be my last meeting with you guys. So I wanted to introduce you guys to Nokomis Hunter, which will be taking over for the Ward 5 Mochers role. I will send out an email to all the ANC commissioners when I find out my official last date. But I just wanted to tell you guys that I really appreciate ANC 5A. I'm very thankful for you guys. I respect you guys' hustle along with Ward 5 Dems. You guys host a host of events that I'm grateful to be a part of. I see your motive when it comes to getting things done in the community, especially North Michigan Park and everything of that nature. So I just wanted to introduce you guys to Nokomis Hunter, and we are done.
Malik, you're just leaving because you don't want us to bother you anymore. That's it, right? Because I have a direct phone number. You're on speed dial on my phone.
Yeah.
Well, it's been great working with you. I can say on my behalf. I'll let the chairman speak, but I've enjoyed working with you. So thank you.
Let's see his replacement first, and then we'll tell him. Okay,
Nokomis, you can unmute yourself.
Hello, guys. Everybody knowing, I look forward to meeting with y'all next year to give y'all updates. It would be more exciting to see y'all in person, but I guess we got to be patient during this time. Other than that, I'm just excited.
Well, Malik, let me say that I think you've done a very good job, and I appreciate the time that I had working with you. And I really hate to do this, but I got something I'd like to drop on your lap. The mayor had a lighting program in which you're going to take the old incandescent lights and replace them with LEDs. As a subset of that, they were also going to provide Wi-Fi hotspots, which we are in terrible need right now. I know that you don't have an answer to this right now, but hopefully when your replacement starts, he will. Thank you for the job and service that you've done. And Mr. Nokomis, I know you'll do a great job in the future. Take care.
Thank you.
Yes, I'll definitely, I'll update Nokomis on the situation, get some language, and then we can work from there.
All right. Malik, we really hate to see you leave. We have really appreciated your services. Once you have the date for sure, if you will circle back and just let us know, if there's any activities, any celebrations, anything going on like that, we'd like to know about it so that we can be a part of it as well. But I will send a personal sort of something to the Mocha's office to thank them for your service. Let them know that we appreciate the services that you provided us.
Thank you so much.
All right. I think now, if we can, you move to the next item on the agenda. I kind of hate that we are crunched for time here tonight, but we are sort of running out of time. And I have UDC that I need to hear from now. But Malik, thank you. And you come, I think that's where you pronounce it?
Yeah, my if my first name is Kamran, I hope that is easy. But Mr. Chairman, for us falling all the way to the end of the agenda, that tells me that I need to work, to work with our relationship with ANC, which that will be part of my agenda. Okay, so first of all, let me thank you and ANC 5A Commissioner for enabling me to present about the new collaboration between UDC and PEPCO as part of our commitment to community health and education in Washington, DC. I have a short PowerPoint that I would like to share if I'm host and if I could be able to share my screen. Am I the host?
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, I made you host.
Okay. So basic share computer. So you have the, I don't know how I don't file Dropbox at basic advanced. So how can should I select file? What should I select? To share computers?
No, so, okay, so go down to the bottom, scroll over the bottom of the Zoom screen, and there's a box that says share screen. Click on that share screen, and then it'll bring up your different screens that are open, your windows that are open, and then you click on the correct window that you have open.
Okay. Share. So can you see my screen now?
No.
Nope.
So, okay. You have the PowerPoint. Do you want to share my screen?
Do I have the PowerPoint?
Yeah, you have the PowerPoint too.
When did you send it?
Maybe 20 minutes ago.
Okay, let me.
Give me any
Okay.
OneDrive, Google Drive box.
Yep, I have it. All right, give me a second. This will only take me a second.
Okay, thank you. So maybe I can start. A few months ago, PEPCO approached us. PEPCO approached UDC with a proposal to provide us with an innovative container food production system known as AgPod. They indicated that they want to help DC to fight back against food desert problem. We, as the land-grant University of the District of Columbia, shared the same vision and happily accepted their offer. And since then, we have been working together to turn our vision to a reality. So the AgPod, I could see the PowerPoint.
Yeah, you just give me a second. I need to fix something here.
Yeah. It didn't give me anything to share my screen when I click on sharing a screen.
She gonna take care of it for you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, so today, as we decided that we are going to install the AgPod and UDC Bertie Backus Food Hub site, so I'm going to present this in your commission and in your ANC. Would you please maximize the screen if it's possible?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So if you could go to the next one, please. So before starting, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Dr. Kamran Zendadel. I'm acting director of the Center for Sustainable Development and Resilience in College of Agriculture, Urban Sustainability and Environmental Sciences. I am presenting on behalf of UDC and PEPCO team. So I also would like to thank Karan Patel, the project lead from PEPCO, who is leading a large team and marketing, engineering, and so forth, and working with UDC to help us to install the AgPod that we have here. So PEPCO and UDC have partnered to install an innovative container food production system known as an AgPod at UDC Backus Food Hub site. Using advanced technology in AgPod, we can grow high quality fresh food in a controlled environment in a short time. This type of technology enables us to operate 365 days a year, 24/7, which will help us minimize food desert problem in DC. Next, please. So the AgPod is an innovative form of urban food production. The PEPCO-UDC collaboration is in line with UDC cause's mission to offer research-based academic and community outreach programs that improve quality of life and economic opportunity of all people and communities in the District of Columbia, the nation, and the world. Next, please. So the AgPod demonstrate a vertical hydroponic system with LED lighting for 20 hours of growth and sanitation for high quality food production. We can grow lettuce, leafy green, herbs, flower, and root vegetables. So the picture in top shows the inside the ag pot. As you can see that the vertical column that enable us to grow food. And here is the layout of the project. I do not know that how much, I'm sure that you've seen the UDC Food Hub site at Bacchus. So these are our 3 greenhouses that we have in the corner coming from Galloway Street. We have in the corner next to the fence, we have a compost bin that we are going to push the compost bin back, and the food hub, the container will be along the fence next to the gate. So if you're coming through the big parking lot at Bacchus Community College, the first thing that you will see next to the fence in your right, it will be the ag pots. Next, please. So here, I just wanted to give you a little bit of information about what we can grow inside. So lettuce, it will be one of the things that we are growing. We will grow at the ag pot. So the ag pot size is 10 feet by 50. Is a container. Is a metal container that is transformed to be able to enable us to grow food. So you have some numbers here. For example, in the left side, you can see that. So average lettuce yield per week is 95 to 100 pound, so or 500 lettuce per week. So there's a huge number of lettuce that you can see. So with the high and advanced technology, we are trying to minimize electricity consumption and water and electricity consumption inside the ag pot. Next, please. So we can also produce leafy greens. We can have arugula, we can have Asian green, we can have collard and green. So you can see that here in your right side, the pound per week. So it's a huge amount of production if you compare to your backyard garden or to a community garden. So in a very short period of time, so we will be able to use the technology to grow a huge amount of healthy and local food in our backyards here in Bacchus. Next, please. So another variety of the vegetable that we can grow is these are herbs: basil, chives, dill, parsley, thyme, sage. So these are the wide range of vegetables that we can grow also inside the ag pot. So for your information, it's important to know that we are going to have a business incubator kitchen that's going to start in early summer, so next year. So having this vegetable, we can, we have a plan to use the vegetable that we are producing in our ag pot to train the community about the food safety and food preparation in our kitchen. Next, please. So root vegetable is another kind of, plant that we can grow inside the ag pot. Again, I'm not going to provide a lot of details. I shared the presentation, the PowerPoint with all of you, and hopefully you will have time to read through the detail. Next one. So one important part of the project is not just food production, is community training. So as you may know that in causes as a land-grant university, our mission is to provide economic opportunities for our community, in particular the ones that are living in food desert areas. So one of the things that we are doing through this project is in line with our mission at our Food Hub site, is providing or developing an entrepreneurial training model that enable communities from Ward 5, 7, and 8 to go through a comprehensive food production, food safety, marketing, and business development training to make sure that they will be successful after going through the training. And hopefully we can help with our partner to start a small business and help us and help the city to minimize the problem of food desert. Next, and food insecurity. Next, please. So we are going to develop a partnership with some nonprofit to enable us to distribute food in food desert areas, the food that we are producing in our ag pot. At the same time, as you know that since 2 years ago, we started a small farmers market, which we call it a farmer stand at Bacchus site. This year, unfortunately, because of the COVID problem, we did not have it. we didn't have it, but hopefully from next year, you know, as things move to the normal, we will have the farm stand, and part of the, you know, our production from the ag part will be shared with the community through the farm stand at Bacchus. Next, please. So one of the purposes that to present here and share the idea with you, we wanted to make sure that you are part of our discussion. So we started, you know, collaborating with PEPCO from summer. Still, we are trying to finalize the project. We are trying to get all the necessary permit to install the project. Now we are trying to see that which kind of wrap we need to really, you know, to design and finalize to be able to wrap the project. And then our hope is that we will have the project, the ag part in place by maybe December or hopefully early January. So here to engage the community and share information and see that how much interest we have from people in Ward 5. We have 2 surveys here. I really appreciate if you could help us to share the survey. So the first survey is, you know, gauging and collecting some information and providing some information about the ag part to the community in Ward 5, and then asking them about how much they want to be engaged, or maybe they want to, you know, join us to train. We will provide them with a tour. So in this way, they can learn about the project, about the vision and mission and what we want to do, both UDC and PEPCO. The second project we have, so UDC team and PEPCO team worked together and came up with the 3 design. So we are now in the stage that we want to finalize this design, and we want to, you know, have your view and vision to select which design is best and represent the project here in our community. So we want to make sure that the community in Ward 5 see this as their project. So the second link, as you can see, enables you to just vote. So you can see that the first design, second design, third design. So in this way, you know, you will help us to identify the best design that we can have, and then we will try to finalize the wrap, and then hopefully again, either in December or early January, we can have the project installed, and then hopefully after that, soon in March, we will start the production and then the training and engaging the community. I also wanted to give opportunity to Karen, the project lead from PEPCO side, if you want to add anything, Karen. But let me first thank you, Karen, and your team in PEPCO for enabling us to really serve our community through this project, and then to see that how we can really expand our partnership in future.
Absolutely, Cameron. And yep, nothing really to add. I think you gave a great summary. So thank you for doing that. And yeah, you know, from PEPCO's perspective, definitely excited to see how this project comes to fruition, and the impact that we could have in community. You know, the food deserts and sustainability issues that we're facing currently, and will continue to face, you know, in our communities, you know, for decades to come. So I also included the survey link in the chat box for the wrap design. So you know, for convenience sake.
Okay. If you would like me to send that link out, the survey link out to our community, could one of you please send me an email with a short description?
I will do that.
With the link in it that I will just forward to the community as is. So please make sure it is sort of ready to go as is.
Yes, I will do that. So we are hoping that we can have the feedback by December 4th. I will include that both links. So I would like to hear from you, ANC member, and as well as the community members, to be able to, you know, finish that part and then move on. Thank you. So any question from the commission, I really appreciate. I know that it's very late. We really, you know, appreciate your persistence and time.
Well, I just see one comment in the chat that I think I'll just throw out to you. I mean, some of the community representatives are saying, hey, you know, we'd like a tour. Would you all be open to sort of giving the community sort of like scheduling a tour where you could take us and walk us around and show us?
Yeah, for sure. But keep in mind that now we are dealing with COVID, and UDC need to follow the mayor order regarding the social distancing. So as long as that are in line with those policies, we will be more than happy. I am teaching here from home, and it's terrible really teaching online. I don't like this situation. I'm really counting days to get back to normal. But as soon as we are good to go, yes, absolutely.
I got you. I understand. I appreciate that.
I have a question.
Yes, go ahead.
Commissioner Barker. So in the four choices and the three choices that you have of the design, if you are getting some federal funding for this, you have to abide by language access. So it would be really helpful if you could include another language, or even just, you know, something that provides maybe a link to a translated explanation about the project. That would be really helpful, because in the three choices that you provided, I only saw it in English and I didn't see like an effort to provide it in other languages. That was the one comment that I had. And then the other question that I had was, is this intended to be for you to be able to grow it year round?
That is correct.
Okay. So even so, it also addressing like any issues with weather, like snow and all that other stuff, that doesn't.
This is completely controlled environment, so you will be able to control temperature, moisture, water, nutrient, lighting, everything. So it's 365 days, 24/7.
Cool. And what size? I know someone is asking this. What size of the
50 feet by 10.
50. Okay. Cool. And just keep in mind about the language access stuff.
Yes, we will for sure. I know for your information, PEPCO is the one who is providing the AgPod and anything financially related to that. So coming from PEPCO, but absolutely we will take into account your note. And we want to be inclusive to everybody as a land-grant University of District of Columbia.
Cool, thank you.
I just, if I could just jump in and also add, Harris Stroman also from UDC. I wanted to just expand upon that at the Bertie Backus campus. If you're not familiar with it, there is one of our food hubs, and there is probably one of our nicest food hubs there. And we have an aquaponics system already there that's 30 feet by 84 feet. So we're growing, we have fish there as well as growing the food there. We also have a hydroponics system, and that's also 30 feet by 84 feet, and then a native plant nursery. So when you're driving down South Dakota, you might notice these like plastic hoop houses, greenhouses. Those are the indoor greenhouses that are, those are closed, those are controlled greenhouses that we're able to produce food year round. And then the big addition right now that we expect it to be done, the end of this year is a commercial incubator kitchen that I recently took a tour of, and it's absolutely stunning, beautiful, be a great asset to the community. So, local community members that want to utilize it to, have like a, if you have a bakery business or something like that, and you don't have a kitchen space, something that will be accessible to the community at a very, very low cost is our aim, so that the community can use it as an entrepreneurship thing. So this agriculture pod that PEPCO is donating is part of that, and it's expanding the operations there. It's one more component, one more technology that the community has to be able to not only learn from this, but able to produce and can contribute to the distribution of produce through either the farm stands or other methods. So just wanted to make sure that was clear.
Thank you, Harris.
Any other questions? A very good presentation. Look forward to stopping by there one day myself and just sort of walking around without a tour. But that's very interesting information. We really appreciate it. You see any other questions? You have anything you want to say in closing?
So the last question is about how much we can grow. I will be more than happy to share the presentation which has a statistic based on the kind of vegetables or produce that we can grow. So again, the hope is that we will start our growing in March, and then and hopefully we will have a channel to share our production with the community through UDC website. But again, I will be more than happy to share the presentation with you. You already have it, and with anybody who wants some more information about the project.
All right. And so, yeah, we probably will be reaching out to you, say like after the first of the year, so you can come back and give us an update.
Okay. Again, this my first agenda is to improve my relationship with 5A ANC.
All right, not a problem. We look forward to it.
Thank you. Thank you, Team UDC and PEPCO. Thank you all.
All right.
Have a good night.
You too. All right, so we are winding down on our meeting. We have now Mr. Joe Lambach, and he is
Our place at Fort Totten.
A company called City Block, and it provides is established to provide ambulatory community-based health services, and they were focused in on the certain areas of the city, like Ward 8, Ward 7, portions of Ward 5. So I saw they had an application for a certificate of need over at the State Health Department, but I'm not clear, Mr. Lambach, and you can tell me, because now we don't have an application for you, and I did ask you to send me one. So we are on shaky ground. I want to say to you that our time is sort of precious. So could you, you got the floor.
Yeah, thank you. And I do have a page or two I'd be happy to present. I'm not sure, Commissioner Lucio, if I can share my screen here.
Yeah, I gave you permission.
Oh, thank you so much. Appreciate that. So, so yeah, thank you. I'll sort of give a brief overview of who City Block is, and just tell you a bit about what we're hoping to do here in DC, and maybe start to answer some of your questions. And I'd love to follow up with more detail about the application very soon to your question. So just a sort of brief overview of who we are. So City Block Health is a 3-year-old company. We were founded in New York City, and we provide integrated healthcare to underserved communities. And so what that means for us integrated is primary care, behavioral health care, and social care, including substance use disorder treatment. And we primarily work with Medicaid and dual eligible populations. And so we serve those folks in our many different markets that City Block is a part of today. We are currently working in the District of Columbia, not providing healthcare services, but providing complex case management services to Medicaid enrollees through a partnership with Care First Community Health Plan. So we started serving residents of the district about 6 weeks ago. What we're seeking to do with our certificate of need is to be able to provide some of those healthcare services that I talked about. So medical care and behavioral health care and substance use treatment. And what's unique about our model is we meet individuals wherever they are 24/7. So what that means to us is virtual care. So we do telephonic, video enabled, and also text chat-based care with individuals. We do in-home visits, and then we also will meet members in the community at a place that they prefer. Sometimes we'll just go for walks and get to know people and understand their healthcare needs. And so it's a bit different than your traditional clinic-based model. And because we're very focused on individuals with complex physical and behavioral needs, sometimes the ability to meet them in the home or virtually actually works a lot better. And in this COVID time, we found through the 10,000 plus people who we serve in New York City that it's helped us to have a big impact on serving some of the folks who are most vulnerable to COVID. So within this context, I'll just talk just a moment about sort of who the people are that would be a part of our team, pending the approval of our certificate of need. So right now, the people who provide case management services are nurse care managers and licensed clinical social workers. And the extent of what we do today is help to connect people to providers. We do comprehensive assessments to understand social needs, and we work with community-based organizations and social service agencies to help people get the sorts of social determinant health services that they need. Schedule appointments, get rides, follow up with them after they've been in the hospital, things like that. When we are able to provide care services, it also allows us to provide a clinical service at the moment someone needs us. We also know that looking at data provided to us by SHPTA and looking at some of the claims that we've seen historically for these individuals who are enrolled with Care First, that there are numerous individuals in the district who don't have a primary care provider, haven't seen one in the last 12 months, and yet these are still individuals who utilize a lot of healthcare. So again, just sort of looking at the data that we've seen, somewhere above 50% of individuals haven't seen a PCP in the last 12 months. And this is the same for residents of Ward 5. So just looking at the 700 or so Ward 5 residents who are part of our case management program, over 60% of them haven't seen a primary care provider, and yet 40% of them have been to the emergency room, and nearly 20% have had an inpatient hospitalization within the last 12 months. And so we look at that as an opportunity to engage people in a different way by bringing services to residents wherever they are. Again, it's sort of part of what makes our model distinct. And again, because we focus on really building a trust-based relationship and providing people with care navigation services and care coordination, not just a doctor's appointment, it's through that sort of sense of trust and building that relationship that helps us engage people and get them involved in their healthcare so that they're not going to the emergency room or having to go for a hospitalization for something that could have been avoided. So that's what we're all about. I know you're probably still seeking more information about our application and all the places that we hope to serve in the district, but hopefully that provides a bit more context for who we are and why we're sort of seeking to come to you. And just for frame of reference, it sounds like you and your fellow commissioners are familiar with the certificate of need process, but as you pointed out, the residents who we hope to serve, our business is primarily focused on people who are dual eligibles and who are Medicaid eligibles. We know in the district, the majority of those individuals are located in the wards that you mentioned, so wards 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. We know from the population who we're serving today in this case management program, the large number of them are in 4, 5, 7, and 8. So that's why we've listed those as the communities that we hope to serve, because we know that's where these residents are located. And we've been reaching out to all of the ANCs in all of those wards to have these sort of initial conversations, meet and greet questions, and hear any feedback that the commissioners or anyone attending may have.
Yeah, first thing is the actual application that you filed. We would need a copy of that so that we can at least have something, if you wanted us to do a resolution or something in support of your application. But so your business is located in Ward 8. Have you gotten the support of any other ANCs?
Yeah, thank you for that question. So we have an administrative office today. And so again, the way that City Block works is we provide care, virtually and in home and in the community. So we don't really think of ourselves as, in terms of the space we're in today, as sort of where we are, wherever our members are located. So to answer your question directly, we've reached out to all of the ANCs, and we've also reached out to the council members of the respective wards that we hope to serve with our model. We've had several conversations this week. I think as you may know, a lot of the ANCs are having their meetings this week in advance of the Thanksgiving holiday. So this is our fourth one in the last 3 days. We have a couple more tomorrow. So it's been exciting to get out there and hear feedback from some of the different communities. Like I said, we've also engaged the council members and have sought to meet with some of their staff, and we've done that. And then we've also been meeting with different DC government stakeholders as recommended by SHPTA, including the primary care office and so forth, to get a alignment between who City Block is hoping to serve and where the district and its residents see need for our kinds of services.
So right now, you have not as of yet received any written support from any ANCs or civic associations or anything. Are there any council members that are particularly supporting your efforts? How about Councilmember Gray? I think he's on the Committee for Health. Have you had any discussions with him at all in terms of?
Yeah, thank you. We've met with his staff. I think Eric Goulet, I think is his name. So we had an initial meeting with him, and we've met with his staff for Councilmember White, Councilmember Nadeau, Councilmember McDuffie. So again, we know that the last couple of weeks have been pretty busy with the election and so forth. So we've had more meetings that we've been able to get on the calendar over the past couple of weeks here in November. But again, just to answer your question, we've asked for letters of support, and of course there have been questions and requests for clarification. But what we're hoping to do is have an exchange with the ANCs and the council members, and then hopefully obtain their support, before the end of the year. So again, it's really a sort of first conversation, and then if they're willing to support us, we ask for it. So to your question, I don't know how many we've received. I know that when we ask for organizations to lend their support, they send a letter both to SHPTA and to us. And so I haven't seen them come yet, but again, we've just had these meetings in the last 2 or 3 weeks.
All right, so can you get us something that we can have to sort of look at?
Of course.
And we will definitely, I think I'm very interested in it. I think our commission is interested in it, but we have a sort of policy here where, we don't just vote on stuff without having some kind of documentation before us. So I know we are looking at several things sort of going on in the community, and the possibility for us to come back and probably have a special meeting sometime in December. So you need to get that stuff to us so that we can get our agenda set for our next meeting, if we can be, if we can help you.
Okay.
You have any questions?
I just wanted to clarify. So is in part in the reason why we did not receive something from SHPTA, because you're not looking to locate anything physically in 5A, correct? So essentially you're looking just to get citywide support, because while the physical building is going to be in Ward 8, the services you provide are going to be citywide, and that's why you're just looking to get citywide support from the ANCs in the various wards. Is that basically correct?
Yes, that's right. Again, we sort of sought out essentially half the district to do these meet and greets, and because we do hope to serve residents who live within your respective neighborhoods and your ward. But that isn't where a physical space that will work from will be located.
So is SHPTA requesting that these support be essential to your application going forward, or this is just an in-kind issue?
Yeah, no, it's as I understand it, the request from SHPTA, which I sort of laid out here, is we are encouraged to inform the ANCs who would be a part of our service area and solicit their views. And so I think letters of support and encouragement are taken under advisement by SHPTA as part of their decision related to the certificate of need. But it's not a specific requirement, although I think if we hope to deliver community-based healthcare and don't meet the community, I think that would be strongly frowned upon. So
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Good statement. Any other questions from the commission? So Mr. Linebacker, I just really, we need is documentation from you, and then I think we can get the other questions that we have answered. I think were regarding support throughout the city. If you have any information you can share with us when you send us that, or as you get that information, if you share it with us, it would help us, I think, on our end in terms of trying to be supportive of the application.
Understood. And as I mentioned, we'll share the information that we submitted to SHPTA with you and your fellow commissioners, so you have the opportunity to review that. And if there's an opportunity to come back and answer any additional questions in a subsequent meeting, I'd be happy to do so as well.
All right. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And I know there's some questions in the Zoom chat. I'm happy to, if I can provide those via email or otherwise. I don't want to take.
I didn't see those. Commissioner Lucio, can you help me? You see any there that need?
Yeah, several of them are from Commissioner Berrigan, but I think her questions can be addressed via email, which she provided. Is that correct, Commissioner Berrigan? Yeah, so I think we're good there.
Okay.
One of the other ones is from Uchenna. She said, where does City Block intend to open a physical location? I think we've answered that. And I think then I think that's it.
Yeah. All right. Very information. You're going to be probably have an opportunity to come back, and anybody have any questions at that meeting, we'll probably have a little bit more time to focus on your application. But Mr. Landbacher, thank you for your presentation.
Thank you.
I think Commissioner Fletcher has an item on the agenda for Art Place at Fort Totten.
Yes, Commissioner. Yes, Mr. Chair. Jesse Tarr, who was here last month regarding the curb cut for Art Place at Fort Totten. He's back, and so yeah, so this is for the curb cut on Ingraham and Kennedy, and so we've talked about this last month. He provided the application to all the commissioners. This is the last piece of approval that he needs to move forward with this curb cut. I think he answered a lot of questions last time. He's also provided a draft resolution for us to use. And, I don't really want to debate this anymore. We need to. I think I'll give it to Jesse just to give a quick summary. But, I'm asking within the next 5 minutes or less that we could support a resolution for this curb cut. So Jesse, you have the floor.
Sure. Thank you, Commissioner Fletcher. To echo what Commissioner Fletcher was saying, there's 2 curb cuts on Ingraham Street. There's off-street parking on South Dakota Avenue, and there's 1 curb cut on Kennedy. If the ANC would like, I could share my screen, and I have the drawing up and ready if that would help facilitate a decision.
Yep, go ahead.
Sure thing. And if you need me to zoom in anywhere, let me know. Where it says Ingraham Street, right here where my mouse is moving in a circular motion, that would be curb cut number 1. It's 22 feet wide. There's another curb cut just planned north of that, also on Ingraham Street, approaching that public alley. That's 21.9 feet. If we move across the plan east towards Kennedy, right around where it says Kennedy Street Northeast, there's a 24-foot wide curb cut. And then moving plan south to South Dakota Avenue Northeast, on the north side of South Dakota Avenue Northeast, between Ingraham and Kennedy, there's that off-street curb lane parking that's proposed. If you need me to zoom in or enlarge anything, please let me know.
I'm good. Commissioner Fletcher, did you all discuss this in your SMD?
We discussed this with block captains, especially those that live in the modern. As you know, I have block captains all over SMD 5A08. So that's what we did for this particular situation, in this particular instance.
Okay. Go ahead.
No. I mean, that's it. I always make sure to get community input, and this is something that the community supports. I did not see the need to actually have an SMD meeting about this one per se, because this really focuses on the tenants of the modern more than, and I mean, clearly those around it as well, but this is for the modern more than anything else. So that's who I spoke with.
All right, you got a motion?
Yeah, I don't believe I can. I don't think I can make this motion, Mr. Chair.
Why you can't make it?
Okay, my apologies, but there was no agenda.
It's your SMD. Why can't you make it?
It's getting late. So my brain's slowing down.
Okay.
I'm young old. Okay, so with that being said, so I move that we draft a resolution in support of the curb cut at Ingraham and Kennedy Street for Art Place at Fort Totten.
I second it.
Okay, it's been properly moved and seconded that ANC 5A support the application submitted by Art Place at Fort Totten for curb cuts at Ingraham and Kennedy Street. Are there any unreadiness on the motion? How many commissioners we got present here? We got 5. Okay, all right. All those in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, let the record reflect that that vote was unanimous. Is that it, Commissioner Fletcher?
Well, regarding that, but just real quick, just so you know, everyone's clear, and for the record, it's been a very long time coming for this ANC 5A08 office. And so I just, you know, through a lot of hard work and diligence from a lot of different people, and this is the last meeting of this term, this 2-year term, we got this done. Okay, I think that's very critical to note. Commissioner Lucio, if you could just put up that the self-insurance letter, just so that folks can see this is what we were looking for.
Yeah, I wasn't prepared for that. You're gonna have to give me a minute. I didn't know you wanted me to put this up in the meeting.
Okay, no worries, no worries. Okay, well, in the interest of time, the document has been signed from the Office of Risk Management. So we have executed all the needed steps for us to take possession of the office that's located at the Modern. And so moving forward, we will not be paying for utilities. Now we just got to talk about what's going to be inside of the office. Thank you, Commissioner Lucio. Thank you very much for doing that so quickly. I just wanted folks to see this, see the date on there. It was done yesterday. So we got this done right in time. So Mr. Chair, thank you for your help and whatnot as well. So I just want folks to know this is something that Joe Bowser, Bob King, and many others contemplated 15 plus years ago that we finally got done. So I'm happy about that. And that's it.
Thank you. And I want to thank you for your due diligence and everybody who worked with you. I thank all the government agencies and everything in terms of making it a reality. Very good job. All right. I am looking at the agenda here. It looks like we have exhausted all of the things.
Chairman Edwards, we did not do the annual report or the comprehensive plan update.
Well, and those two things are not deserving of too much comment right now, because the only thing we can do, we gave a very good update on the annual report at our last meeting, and we haven't gotten it finished, so it's not much to talk about there. The other item is the comprehensive plan update. I'm not sure what else you guys want to talk about with regard to that. I mean, the hearing that they had, I'm not sure.
I believe Commissioner Fletcher presented at that, I believe.
Okay.
Yep, I made sure to represent all of ANC 5A. I also made sure to unequivocally, state thank you to Lorenz, David, Uchenna for their assistance in drafting those recommendations. And so it's on the record, because I think it was very important for us to actually testify because of all of the community input that we got around it. If we didn't testify, I felt like it wouldn't be a completed job. So, and it was done. So I just wanted folks to know that. Thank you, Commissioner Lucio.
Thank you. Everybody that was a part of getting that done. Thank you. Anything else?
Are we going to do the community comment period?
Yeah, who have comments?
I don't know if any community members have comments. I just wanted to say that this meeting really went long. Like right now, we have very few residents, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Won't make it any longer going through that. We kind of.
I know. I just wanted to say that, let me finish, please. That we really should make an effort to hear from the community, and we had over.
Look. I don't want to spend the time here talking about that. We hear from the community all the way through our meetings. We do not have discussions where we don't allow the community to participate. If there is anyone who has any comments now, anything that they want to say, they have an opportunity to say that. But let's don't do that. We don't have to get there. Our community is very involved and engaged in our meetings. Do anyone here tonight have anything that you'd like to say as we close down this?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I texted you privately, and I think Ms. Berrigan has a point. I mean, so Ms. Lucio, you said there was an agenda sent ahead, and yet it wasn't even half as extensive as what we're experiencing here. So I would beg that, I mean, I listen to C-SPAN, and when I listen to Senate hearings and I listen to House hearings, they put time limits on in terms of discussions.
All right, hey.
We have a meet, excuse
Hold on
me,
for 1 minute.
excuse me.
Hold on.
Wait a minute.
No, you hold on.
All right.
I'm not going to listen to you for the whole night. We are an ANC, and we only meet by law. We're only required to meet once a month. We try to meet sometimes 2-3 times a month. But when we do meet, if there are issues of importance to the community, without having to bring them out to meetings 2 and 3 times a month, we try to get everything we can in 1 month. I apologize to you if these meetings are too long, but if they're too long, you don't have to stay. I mean, that's all I'm saying.
That's like telling me to go back to my own country.
No.
That's totally, you know, that's unacceptable, Chairman Edwards.
I mean, I understand.
Volunteer, no unpaid work.
And we're unpaid citizens.
Mr. Wheatley, by law, we provide an agenda with a proper notice. The notice was given 7 days prior to. Commissioner Lucio made sure to do that. And when that's not done, we check ourselves.
Okay.
Check ourselves.
So I have a request that at least we are able to copy chats, because chats sessions can't even be copied. So can I make that? I mean, would you honor that request? Because I mean, all these information is left in the chat, and it takes time. I mean, it's a simple thing to be able to just copy a chat session. If you want us to stay engaged.
Well, I can tell you that this meeting is being recorded. We can work with Commissioner Lucio after this meeting. She has also asked everybody who has sent certain things in the chat, links and things like that, to send those to her so that she can post them and make them available to the community. We understand what you're saying. We're trying to work with you. Let's talk. And give me a call after this meeting, maybe tomorrow or the weekend. Let's talk about it. Let's get, and we'll try to work with you to help you to get what you need. But you know, just understand, we are here. We are a community organization. We're trying to do the best we can with the time we have. We meet as many times a month as we need to try to take care of the community business. But on these special meetings, on these meetings like tonight, when it's our regular meeting, if it's something that comes up and it's important, we're going to take the time to talk about it. And if the community, if you feel that it is taking too long, we would love for you to stay through the duration of the meeting, but it is not a requirement.
Well, I mean, and that goes back to the point that these meetings should be available, immediately available to record by all the stakeholders. I mean,
we're working on that. We're working on that. We're working on that. And I just want to say to you that
it's built into the Zoom app.
I checked the law, and the law basically says, and we are pretty good. I mean, you record meetings or you have very detailed minutes. We have very detailed minutes. And so we're going to work with you, Mr. Wheatley, but the meeting, as far as I'm concerned, I don't want to spend too much more time tonight talking about that. If there are some neighbors that have other community concerns that we'd like to talk about, we want to entertain those. But other than that, I'm ready to adjourn this meeting.
Well, I do have one issue talking about what's going on in the neighborhood.
Okay.
And I know that we're having an SMD meeting next week. And here it is. I mean, we couldn't have this meeting next week, but we're going to have an SMD meeting, which is right before the holiday. You know, I want to make sure, I don't know where we stand, and maybe I'm not sure if I can attend this meeting next week, Ms. Lucio, so that's why I'm bringing it up now. The status of the DDOT report. I mean, you know, and then all that material that I forwarded to you with pictures and all of that. I've heard crickets. And so that's an ongoing issue, it seems. It's right, it's everybody's issue. I'm looking at these street closures throughout our community. That's another concern. So I don't know. I'd like to put a proposal among particularly all, and I don't know if you even have a quorum of members now. So I'll just have to reserve until everybody's here, because I do want everybody to hear what I have to say in terms of how I think we should move forward as a community, as a city.
Thank you. And we may have a special meeting for you, may have a special meeting in the community to sort of just talk about ideas and suggestions about operations. I don't think we opposed to doing something like that. So let's talk. You have some issues that you'd like for us to work with you on. Let's get together and talk about them, and let's not wait till meetings and try to bring them in.
Well, no, I think what I have to say, I think is that's just it. I don't want it to be exclusive. I want it to be fully engaged.
Well, you're not a commissioner right now, sir. And so all I'd like to say to you is thank you. We like your ideas and suggestions. And like I say, we will be coming back to you and asking for, and as we always do from the community, for ideas and suggestions. I think that it might be better for that kind of a meeting, because it sounds like it's going to be a meeting where we want to hear more than your ideas. We want to hear from somebody else's. And so we want to open it up for a community to maybe give us some ideas about how moving forward we can improve. We always look for ways to improve. If there is no other business.
There's one thing to add to just to support, just to support what Mr. Wheatley's saying, because he's a great community person. I want to make sure that too. We just got to have respect here, understanding. But with that being said, on Friday at 1:30, I have a community walkthrough with Kelly Olson from DDOT. It's in my SMD. It's not in Commissioner Lucio's SMD. But if you want to come, Mr. Wheatley, you're more than welcome to come. So that way you can address some of your concerns directly to DDOT.
Just Commissioner Fletcher, just to be clear, this is about a particular issue that's related to where Mr. Wheatley lives. And I have been in multiple conversations with Kelly Olson Young about this issue. We've been emailing back and forth about addressing this issue. It's about weight limits on truck issues. It's about sinkhole issues. It's about high congestion traffic on the streets. There's a number of issues that we're trying to address in that area, but from Mr. Wheatley, as well as other residents who live right in his neighborhood. So Mr. Wheatley, your issues have not gone unnoticed. As you know, I have responded to them, and I have been trying to engage Ms. Olson on those, and I will continue to do that. What I would suggest is that why don't we schedule another meeting with her and the community members to deal with that issue?
Well, that's fine with me. Absolutely.
Okay. All right. Yep. And Commissioner Lucio, if there's anything that we can do from the ANC level, me or the vice chair, to help you, please let us know so we can help you. I mean, if it's something that is a problem that needs to be taken care of, we want to work with Mr. Wheatley and with you to.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I think one of the things I do think, Chairman Edwards, is that some of these issues are going to be even more impacted as the EYA development comes into fruition very soon. So I think that we need to sort of put that in conjunction with that, because I think that as they bring in trucks for their construction, this is only going to get worse. So we've got to just address this as we go forward. So thank you. I appreciate that.
Okay. All right. Not seeing any other hands. This meeting is adjourned.
Thank you, everyone.
Be safe.
Good night.
Good night.